Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Yeah. No.
We should be. Yeah, we're live now. Okay, good deal.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. We hope everybody's week was well. It's good that the Shabbat is here. Now we can fall back and enjoy the Most High and our families.
Yes, sir. And I was looking forward to it this week.
Oh yeah, you was throwing down over there. That chicken coop. Me and brother Chris was talking about it for a minute yesterday. Last night, I believe. And I was like, man, that chicken coop's so nice. I tell them chickens, hey, you have to put out 12 eggs a day per chicken.
Oh yeah. And we'll probably put on there the sign like we had at the old coop. An egg a day keeps the hatchet away.
That's what's up. Yes, sir. Because that place is nice. I was like, man. And then Brother Chris was reminding me that you milled all of that wood. I was like, dang, I forgot that he was milling his own wood. Because I was looking at you do the fitting for the door. For the door with the 2x4s.
Yes,
I'll be honest, brother, you're a bad man. You off the chain.
It's been a process, you know. I've enjoyed it, learning a lot, and to make the chickens house a good space. So yeah.
Oh yeah. That's perfect. I was looking at when you was doing it, and we was on the phone one time, and I was like, man, I just look at the craftsmanship of how you was putting the door together, and I said, yeah, it's something when you know you enjoy something, because the extra touches that you put on there, and you can see it in the quality of what you build. The hands down.
Well, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Man, I'm trying to think. I don't know, man. I was just glad because I ain't too long walk back in the house with him. Out there with Sarah while she was feeding her, doing it because we still do 2 feedings a day. I think when this last bag of milk, the bag of the powdered milk stuff when that's gone, and I think we using grower, and then also I gave him some a little bit of peanut hay.
How's he doing?
He seemed to like it. He big and healthy. Awesome. He growing good, man.
That's awesome.
And that stuff I bought to keep the lights off of them and bugs and stuff for Tractor Supply, that stuff worked good. Because when his hair had fell out in a couple places, it's growing back. He looking right. He a nice size. He getting kind of stout. That milk make you stout.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. That is awesome, man. I'm gonna be honest, man. You can't beat it. Keisha was taking me over there to them first garden tables that we did and showing me what they did, man. And then in a couple of weeks, they already got some stuff up there pretty tall. 10 inches, 6 inches, whatever. I was like, man, this, it's something about homesteading that just, it gives you, I want to say it gives you life. You know what I mean? That kind of peaceful life. So yeah, man, sometimes you just look around at the place and you're like, wow.
Yes, sir. And I was looking for something, working on the coop today, and I needed to get a tool that I keep over by the mill. And I was walking around and just paused for a minute, looking, everything was turning green. And man, I don't know how people can see stuff like that and just forget about Yah. Because I know in those moments, man, like you were saying, you just kind of pause and look around, take it all in, and give thanks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He's been good to us.
Yes,
he's been good to us all. When I really look around, I was telling my children yesterday, they was just talking about my mom or whatever, because they were checking on me because yesterday was my mom's birthday, or would have been my mom's birthday.
Right.
I said, man, I'm good because, her part of her lives on through me and y'all and whoever life she touched or whatever. But I started thinking, and I was like, man, a couple of tears came to my eyes because I was blessed to be. I told him last night, I said, I feel so blessed to have been in her presence. I said, I'm still able to talk to my father and be in his presence I said, so I lump all of the good, the bad, the in between, and say, hey, they did their job. They got me here. They put me on the right track. Now everything was up to me.
Yes, sir.
So I just was, how you reflect, man. You just
Oh, yeah.
reflect and saying, and I just tell them that's why I like being in the company of older men, just in general, but older women too, but especially
Right.
older men, because being able to sit at their feet and get all that knowledge that you probably neglected in your youth, and then to apply. That's the main thing I tell them. I say, man, we get away from applying some of that stuff that will actually not only change your life, but possibly save your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah,
So
it's
man,
really a privilege, man, to be able to have.
Man, it's an honor, brother.
Yes, sir.
It's an honor. And when we talked about, last week or either the week before last about other men, even some of these people, pastors and stuff, they will tell you to disconnect from your family and disrespect them.
Right.
But because y'all don't believe it's actually the same thing. Well, hey, I'm pretty sure, as my grandfather says, tongue and teeth fall out because the tongue might get bitten by the teeth, but you don't see them jumping out of the mouth. And that make a lot of sense. Like I was telling Key last night, I said, me and my dad don't agree on everything, but I don't disrespect him. And he understands that, hey, if it's something that's outside of what I believe the Bible to say, then he already know I ain't gonna do it.
Right.
He wouldn't even ask. Because you have already made your stand. See, so what you said, you and FY was saying last week, you can still be respectful, but that don't mean you have to do everything they say do when you know it goes against your belief system with the Most High.
Absolutely. Honoring does not equivocate obedience.
Yes, sir.
Right.
100%, brother. So yeah, I was just thinking about that week. I mean, you ain't got to disrespect them. You ain't got to cut them off. You just got to make your stance known. Hey, mom, dad, this is what I believe.
Yes, sir.
The Bible say this is how I'm leading my family. And hey, I love you. I love you, but some things we just can't. We won't be able to partake of.
Right. Absolutely.
They get it.
Absolutely. Now, I think
So,
when you see people doing those, using those tactics, and that's exactly what it is, tactics, is to divide and sever you off, like we said, so that those people who would have you, or, that you would have in their ear, or they would be in your ear, that would have the opportunity to stop you from making those foolish decisions. And so these people know that, and they want to, strategically and methodically, chisel away and cut that off.
Yes, sir.
They're left with the ones being the only them that you listen to, but they don't have your best interest at heart.
No, sir. You're right.
When you piss that ministry off, it doesn't matter if you've been there for 5 years or 10 years or whatever it is, and been a faithful and cheerful giver. Every opportunity that you had, none of that would matter at the time you pissed them off. They wouldn't care, and you wouldn't have a pot to piss in.
Yes, sir. You're right. But you're right. And I just say this from what I know about you guys. I'm sure y'all fathers even heard that y'all was about to give your land away or give up. So they would just already know the line to be burning down with at least a 30-minute conversation about why they brought you into the world and what you need to be doing. Because I know my own father would do it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, my dad wouldn't go for that.
Yes, sir. I believe it. I don't think that's wise to go for it neither.
Nope.
My dad's from the streets, and literally, y'all, the next live stream would have been you two. You'd be like, where FY at? Gone. Gone.
Oh, man.
Because the way my parents look at it, well, my father, he look at it like, if you busted your ass and did all this work, why are you giving it away? Like, literally, I didn't teach you, because my dad was always a hard worker. He always busted his ass. It just wasn't always for the right causes. So my dad will put in work. I mean, long hours of work, because he wanted to count that money. So he'd be looking at like, so you trying to tell me you worked, got money, and gave it away for Jesus?
Ooh.
Nah, son. And my dad don't even know the Bible like that, but he'd be like, I'm just gonna have to recommend, son, that you leave that religion.
Yes, sir.
Any religion where they require you to be poor, broke, and dependent, but rich in the spirit. I mean, you can be well off, not even well off. You don't have to be destitute to have Yah.
That's right.
You don't have to be poor and needy to have Yah.
That's true.
You just don't. And I'm not speaking from the perspective of a well-off or even a rich or even a well-off man. I'm speaking from the perspective of somebody that has their bills paid and is moving forward, or has no bills and is moving forward.
That makes sense.
You don't have to this whole premise that, because the Bible says, the poor will inherit the kingdom. The poor will inherit the earth. The meek will inherit the earth.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and people always interpret that to mean if you're poor in spirit, you're just broke, just destitute. Man. Well, that would go against everything we read in the Apocrypha, where it says a mean cottage on your own piece of property is better than living in another man's house.
Right.
And the Bible doesn't contradict itself, and we know that. So it's not talking about poor like you just walking around broke. Because
not at all.
That would go against. The problem is that we like being broke because we like to embrace our curses. And Deuteronomy 28 talks about we're going to be the tail, and we're always going to have the nations lend to us. We're going to be the servant. Well, we know the borrower is a servant to the lender. Yes, so when you hear people talk about they love, you're supposed to be broke or destitute or give your pastor or elder everything. That's just a person who wants to live in their curses.
Right.
Yes, sir. I agree with that. I know the word says something about the poor will always be with you. I believe Yeshua said that. But yes, Yeshua didn't say you would be the poor.
Right.
He didn't say Israel or God's people. You will be the poor.
Yep.
And this is a perfect segue too. Because this is one of the main, I think probably one of the main things that a lot of people maybe now or at some point in the future would wish that they would have known.
Yes, sir.
Wish that they would have known.
I did. I would, when you look back over it now, I'm sure y'all have looked at it and say, man, if you had to do this all over again, if you had to drop it back in reverse to whatever that time frame was, whether it's been 5, 8, or 10 years ago, knowing what you know now, you know how much bad, you'll be bad to the bone on your homestead. You know now.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Man.
Yeah, because
Go ahead.
I gave tens of thousands away with that nonsense.
Woo! Me too.
Well, I can't say that, brothers, because I knew the church was bullshitting me, so I gave tens. I might have, if you added all of the money I gave the church. Now, when I was in a particular ministry, I did sell, I used to do street racing. I did sell the car that I street raced in because, you hear all that shit about giving. And I think I took, Tanisha, how much did I, don't give the amount, but what percentage did I give? You remember when I sold the tib? Yeah. How much did I give? Don't say the number. 25%?
Of a car?
From a car that I used to street race in.
So you probably gave.
I gave 25% of the sale of the car.
Yeah, I get
20%. 20% of the sale of the car. And then this car, I chipped it, I modded the motor, I cut weight, I took all the steel parts and put carbon fiber. I was in the street racing big.
Well, I already know that's a high dollar number.
Yeah. And guess what I got back? Guess what I got back? You a good brother.
They give you a prayer cloth, some oil, some water, or something in the jug.
I didn't even get that.
They didn't even let you eat steak with them?
I mean, I did get kicked out later. Does that count?
Man, and you paid for it?
Huh?
You basically paid to get kicked out?
I paid to get kicked out. Because
Nah.
I wouldn't obey and submit and get their permission to get married again.
You had the audacity to grab your testicles back.
Woo!
That's big. Man.
You know, and they pull that, well, if you do it without our consent, then we're not going to give you counsel. I was like, I wasn't asking none of y'all niggas for counsel anyways. What does that mean? I wasn't asking y'all to help me in my marriage. I've seen enough of that in Christianity where the pastor, you know, they're the head, you know, what do they call them? Counsel, you know, when you go to marriage counseling?
Right.
Mediator.
And the head elder and the pastors, they be getting all the information on everybody. I told you, my parents were the high up in the church, and they used to be part of that counseling stuff and go get counseling. And I'm like, this shit, it clearly doesn't work.
Right.
Because nothing changed. Because what you realize is that when you read this book, all the counsel you need is in there, and the bigger question is are you going to do it or not? If you're not going to do it because Yah said so, then you're not going to do it because your pastor or elder said so.
That's right.
Crazy.
Oh, well, I'm keeping my stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
Unapologetically.
All of it.
If I give something, it's simply because I felt benevolent and chose to give.
Yes, sir.
Not because of some offering song or fiery sermons, trying to twist your arm behind your back. None of that nonsense.
Nope. Coercion.
Right.
Those mafia tactics. Low key.
It's time for my daughters to marry and to be because I chose a young man that they're
That's
married.
what's up.
You know.
That's what's up, my brother. Man.
Give it in Jesus' name. Give it in Jesus' name. Give. Oh, I forgot we were live. I was just singing my gift song.
Oh, okay. Hey, Sister Elaine said this, and she telling the truth. She said if she had known the truth years ago, instead of all the tithing I paid into the churches, I would have had a lot more to make the move out of her and would not be pouring money into a fixable.
Woo!
That's serious.
That's very true.
That's
very
true.
That's serious. That helps you to be able to come out. That's all along what we're going to be talking about tonight. You know, the things you wish you would have known before you came out. You wish you would have known you needed some, some resources instead of the pastor buying some. I know some pastors that buy $500 and $600 pair of shoes. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
They be in the Safeway chilling on Sundays, but you broke.
Woo!
Yep.
Let's ask a question real quick. For as much as many of you have given to your favorite church, camp, or ministry, and I'm talking in westernized Christianity and in the so-called faith, where you gave, but you gave more off compulsion because they told you to give, not because y'all put it in your heart to give. How much money do you think y'all have spent? And I'm asking for even the people who are listening right now. How much do you think you have given away to a pastor, an elder, a teacher? How much?
Well, I'll start first. I know for absolute fact, I could have paid this acreage off cash money and still have some left over.
For real?
Yes, sir.
Oh, shit. Oh, my gosh.
I would agree. I would agree. I'm pretty sure I could have paid the acreage off and probably got some other. Like, I'm like you, could have got some other things.
Yes, sir.
Easy.
What?
I was just adding up something the other day, and I ain't even trying to be funny about it. I remember, I just say this week, what came to my mind was I saw a church van, a diesel church van. Do you know like those buses they use for community transport?
Yes.
Well, I remember a church buying it. Everything was not right on it electronically. And I know I just used a few small numbers. I put 1,500 in the tires. I might have put another 500 into some other work that had to be done. Had some signage put on it for the church. You know, all kind of crap. I think one time I told Keisha, I said, how much you think we done gave in the last couple of months? And I had got a little extra money in, and I think I dropped probably 10 or 11 G's. And now when I look back, I'm like, what did we get for that? And I gave away a car? What? That's crazy.
Man.
I'm just saying, we did some, I'm talking about some uber dumb stuff.
Yes, sir.
Just stupid.
Yep, absolutely. And one time when this church was getting ready to buy some land, on top of the money that we gave, man, the children, like, we sold all our silver and stuff that we had stored. We sold all the silver and then gave that as well.
Ooh-wee.
Yep.
Man.
To a bunch of ungrateful folks.
Heathens. Just call them what they are. Heathens.
Yep.
Cause you the best brother when you gave it, and then when you decide, nah, I ain't trying to be here no more, you're wicked.
Yes, sir.
Real talk. Man.
Yeah, so that'd be probably one of the first things I wish I had known from the beginning is to not get trapped in this false religion. That is not Yah's way. The two are entirely different and separate.
Yes, sir.
That is
I won't do that. That stuff is crazy, brother. When I think about it, and I'm gonna even say this, you know when you should be doing something because you feel bad. You feel bad later, like I really wanted to do X, but I just gave this. You know what I mean? You kind of look at it and you see some things. You're like, I really didn't want to do it. So after a while, I was like, I'm gonna stop doing some crazy stuff. I pulled back a little bit, but I think that's probably the last church I went to too, at this particular church. But I just kept that in my mind. If it's something I really don't want to do, don't do it. If that makes sense.
That's
because
crazy.
I believe it's something telling you. It's probably the unction of the Ruach saying, "Hey, you're doing the most, brother. Yep. You're doing too much.
You're doing too much.
Yep, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. And I'm gonna tell you something. You know that the most of the time when we deal with these leaders, they really be knowing what's up when they meet people. The reason I say that, they know dudes that got
money.
That they know dudes that got the money or the potential to make money. They know the dudes that got pulled on people because they charismatic. They know all that stuff from meeting you. From probably just talking to you for a few seconds and taking your hand and watching you and how your wife or wives or family operate, they can pick that stuff out.
They see dollar signs from the beginning.
Yes, sir. They be like, got them.
There was a church out in San Francisco that had, I think Jerry Rice attended it once, or Roger Craig. I think it was one of them. Roger, one of them attended the church. And they gave him, we got, whoever it was, so-and-so here at the church, brought them up to the front, gave them the opportunity to say hi to the people. I'm like, wait a minute. Are you kidding me? Then this same lead pastor started talking about, we need more NFL football players to come to church, and then he geared his message talking to football players. I was like, if this dude don't shut the up, are you seriously courting the NFL? And then he ended up going to the NHL and trying to court NHL players. I know why you doing it.
Hey, that's no different from some of these so-called leaders of the faith be doing. You know,
Man.
you come
Right.
straight off of all of that and come straight into you're a leader, you're a bishop or an elder or whatever, you know, titles they bestow upon you.
Yes, sir.
Straight off the street.
Yes, sir. Don't even know.
I wonder how that all things in common works out for them. Or here's my question. Or do they automatically get put up to being the head of a community, leadership, church, satellite? Which one is it? So then at that point, what defines leadership? Is leadership defining how much money you make? Or the spirit of Yah working through you?
Yep. It's interesting when you look in scripture or the Bible, I should say, you don't see that in the qualifications.
That's true.
It's not based off of, what you're doing for a living or how much money that brought in and all of that. That wasn't part of those qualifications, interestingly enough.
Right.
But it seems to make a difference with some of these folks today.
Woo!
Sure.
These people get platforms.
Hey, I wouldn't mind having 10 loads of gravel out here for them 10, 11 G's. I can have 11 loads of gravel out here. I know y'all can have 30. But I would like to have 10. I can almost gravel the whole place and watch this. We won't have bugs. I'm just being funny. I'm just being funny.
That is, man. Wow.
So now, that's one of the things I wish I would have known years in advance. So I could have saved up that money and came out strong. So we had to hustle hard, meaning working, to start putting back money in our savings to get stuff. I mean, I just say this, and I'm not being funny about it. We all had lived differently in one way or another. I have my place is on grid, but just to get utilities on a piece of raw land, a place with nothing, it costs some money to get you to this thing. I'm just using that as an example. And that's the thing I wish I would have known off rip, especially the amount. When you start looking at, I'm gonna just use this linear foot. When you start paying $6, $7, $8, $10 a linear foot to run water or run power or whatever the case is, that costs bread.
Yes, sir.
That was working. That wasn't a gimme program. I didn't have a GoFundMe. None of the brothers on this channel, we don't have a GoFundMe to get these places up and running.
Nope.
We getting it from the muscle. They're just being honest. So
let's go to the book. Let's go to the book real quick. I think this is something that every man should consider. Because we're talking to the men. Because for women, when maybe we'll have a stream for that, but it's always amazing to me the amount of women who want to go off and buy land by themselves. They want a homestead by themselves. I'm just like,
they crazy.
Because I know quite a few women who bought land, tried to homestead, had their land trust passed on all the time, people ATVing on their property, people hopping the fence because the people who were surrounding them were trying to figure out, is there a man on that property? Is there some guy who's going to defend that woman and her? We have a couple households over here that are like third generation. 3 generations live on the same piece of property. I'm talking like daughters, uncles, brothers, but the single women, if the husband dies, they all move back to the patriarch of the lands. The grandfather, they all move back to that place because he's got, a trailer set up where she can move into it and live peaceably with the protection of the men. The brothers, the grandfather, the sons, whoever may be on that property. Wow. And you may have 50 people on that piece of property from just the sons and their children and children's children, But you don't ever see just a random rogue woman. I'm just gonna live out here by myself. And the thing is, brothers, is that it's oftentimes women that look like us, women of color, Hebrew women, who are like, I'm just gonna buy my own land in the middle of nowhere.
Yes, sir.
That's so mystifying because we know as men, where we bought, we had to go out there and still make a name for ourselves. We had to let people know, hey, I'm just not want to be messed with. I don't want a problem at all. I just don't want to be messed with.
Absolutely.
But they don't respect that out here. They don't respect the single woman out here. And people don't understand, they're so used to city living, they don't respect the single mother out here at all.
Yes, sir. Do you remember when you got an email one time from a lady and she was like, she came out on her own, bought her own land, put her a cottage or shed up on it, and then she was having to leave because the people was doing all this weird stuff?
Yep.
So I don't
Middle of
know
the night, shining their lights on her property, their car lights, their floodlights on the top of their cars, on her property in the middle of the night. And she's calling the cops, and the cops are like, we ain't coming. This ain't the city, woman. In the city, you call the cops for that, and they show up 15 minutes later. Here, you better have a gun.
Yep. Yes, sir.
They ain't responding to that mess.
No, sir. Hey, I'm just going to take a moment out to do a small commercial. We are looking crystal clear here on the new Wi-Fi systems that we have installed. Watch this, ourselves.
Woo!
I'm trying to think how much we paying a month. Is it $25? $30 or something?
30,
more?
I think. Yeah.
$30.
Oh. It is lightning fast. I don't even have a parabolic up, and I ran my speed test today. 30 down, 18 up.
Man. That's awesome.
Not even putting up. Hey, I haven't even put up the Yagi. A Yagi.
Wow.
I was trying to download something. I hit download, and it said your download is complete. I was like, wait a minute.
Woo!
I just hit the button.
It used to say,
Yes,
come
sir.
back next year.
Yeah. It'd be like, I'll see you in 2022.
Woo!
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother David. Woo!
Thank you, Brother David.
Yes,
You
sir.
just saved me thousands of dollars a year. Thousands.
Hallelujah, brothers.
Man.
I had a couple people compliment and be like, brother, your stream was a lot clearer. Now, I don't know why I didn't do it this time. I'm using a cell phone. We didn't log on to my Wi-Fi before we did this stream. But that last one, yeah, we're still on the cell phone service right now. I forgot to log into the Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, I know you throwing thunder and lightning over there. I heard them 40, almost 50 downs and all of these big numbers up. I was like, yeah, that's what's up.
I did a test earlier. It was 43 and 15.
That's something, bro.
It is. And like you, that's with no antennas.
No
Wow.
antenna.
That's awesome, man. Wow.
Yeah, man.
All right, this is for all the brothers here. Luke chapter 14, verse 28. Now, we're going to read it, but apply it to your situation, brothers and sisters. Brothers, apply it to your situation. But sisters, you could apply it to yourself, just hopefully not in the idea of coming out by yourself. Funky Drummer, I have an email in all my videos, an email address. You can go to the description, and then my email address is there. Just send me an email. Luke 14:28. For who among you desires to build a tower and does not first sit down and think about its cost, if he has enough to complete it? Or else when he lays the foundation, and is not able to finish it, all who see will be mocking him. And they will say that this man began to build and was not able to finish it. Or which king who goes to war to fight with a neighboring king does not first think whether he is able with 10,000 to meet him who comes with 20,000 against him? And if, while he is far away from him, does not send envoys and beseech for peace. Thus, every one of you who does not leave all his possessions is not able to be a disciple to me. And leaves his possessions. If you read prior, it also says you're supposed to hate father and mother, your daughters, and yourself. Learn what that means in context. It doesn't just mean hate your family and get rid of your shit.
Right, right.
He's clearly talking about nothing goes before him. Nothing goes ahead of him. Not your possessions, not your mother, not your father, not your children. Nothing stands between you and the Father. That's what he's referring to. But in this context, what we just read, how many want to come out and have not counted truly the cost of doing it?
Mm.
Brother, I'm just sitting here laughing, and I'm not making this up. I was sitting out there working on the chicken coop earlier and just kind of thinking about the stream, and that's the exact verse that came to my mind in the sense of, and it was in the form of this thought. We're charged to count the cost, and that's exactly the verse that I was thinking of. But yet, how many people will make this move and say, oh, well, Yah told me to come out. That's all I know. Or that's all I did is because that's what he told me to do. But we also are charged to provide for our families. We know that we have to have a house and so forth and so on. And yet, even still, as we just read in that verse, we can see even these things that Yah's commanded us to do, he's telling us you count the cost and you make sure that you're able to get it done.
Right.
So it's really no excuse for moving too hastily to the extent that then you're not prepared.
Right.
Believing that it was for Yah, but the very nature in which it was done lets you know that it's not Yah that has caused you to not be prepared. It wasn't Yah that said don't do your due diligence, because right there you just heard him saying count the cost. Essentially, do your due diligence. Make sure that you understand what it takes to do it and that you have the ability to then get it done. That's amazing.
And if you walk in wisdom, you can apply that verse to every single thing you do in life.
Yes, sir.
Every single thing you do in life, you should apply that verse. Count the cost. Do I have enough to start and to finish this thing? Whatever it may be.
Absolutely.
If you do not have what it takes to start and finish it, you would be better off never starting it. It kind of reminds me of like the Bible when it talks about your word. It says it would have been better for you to not vow than to vow and break it. It would be better for you to never get started than to start and fail. It'd be better for you to never come to the faith. The Bible says it. It would have been better for you to never come to the faith than to come in, see what it is, partake in it, and then turn from it.
Yes, sir.
You're better off not starting it. You're better off not getting married women than to get married and walk away. Once you get married, sit down, shut up, obey, submit, and do what it is. You don't get married and say, well, I didn't know. In reality, what it is you didn't count the cost because you thought it was going to be a honeymoon for the next 30 years of your life. And that he was supposed to make it a honeymoon for you for the next 30 years of your life. Men, you want a second wife. You want a third wife. You want a first wife. Have you counted the cost truly of what the Bible says when it means you are to provide food, covering? Everybody wants to do the conjugal rights part. Everybody wants to hit it. What about the nurturing, the cherishing, the teaching? How about this, brothers? How about when your pastor tries to cut into your home?
Man.
Have you counted the cost and said, I'm going to stand up as a man and I'm going to put this hedge up and let him know you ain't crossing his hedge?
Right. Boundaries.
If you ain't done that, then you ain't count the cost.
That's true.
That goes for everything that you do in life. You should count the cost. Sit down and say, hey, if I take this woman and she's part of this camp group and ministry, and she already said that her pastor's number one, I'm going to be a servant. Do I really want to be? You got dudes who want to move on to communities. I'm moving on to a community. Then they want to leave the community and blast the community out. I look at it like, you knew you were going to be a servant. You were all happy about it. Did you count the cost? You were so happy to move on there, and now you're leaving. Apparently, you didn't count the cost. Well, I didn't know that he was going to do this. You should have, because had you counted the cost, you would have known that was one of the things that he could do.
Yes, sir. Happens way too often. More often than not, I think is the case. People just jump into stuff without having counted the cost.
Yes.
Yep. Coming out is not a scheme for dudes to be like, I don't like paying my bills in the city. I'm finna not pay any bills because it don't work like. I mean, we just use something simple. You know, you can possibly have a hay or feed bill. So it ain't a come up. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It ain't a come up scheme. If you're the type of dude that you didn't pay your bills in the city, coming out is only gonna expose you more. Meaning expose your problem, your weakness.
Yes,
Man.
sir.
Because your homestead gonna suffer in the process if you was that kind of guy. Because I'm pretty sure I'd at least seen one or two cats or guys, they wasn't paying their bills on time. They was trying to run from one spot to the next. And it shows when you come out because you live like that. You live a life of unpreparedness, and these are things you need to know. You need to be already evaluating yourself and say, what kind of steward am I over what I have right now? Before you even get to your land. Am
Brother
I
Alex,
Go ahead, bro.
Brother Alex said something to go along with what you said, Brother Andre. He said, man, you're going to be paying out just as much with the homestead lifestyle. The difference is you own what your money is going into.
Yes, sir.
And that's it. So many people come, I'm coming out because it's cheaper. Do you know how much? And the thing is, when you come out, unless you plan on living on credit, you got to have a lot of this money up front.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if you're like, you know, people go, I'm just going to buy some solar panels. I'm gonna run my homestead on solar. Do you know I'm doing it? Brother David's done it. Do you know how much it's gonna cost?
No, they think big lot solar panels is gonna run everything.
Everything. I'm gonna go buy a Harbor Freight system and I'm gonna run everything on my homestead.
Not so.
Now I was gonna say, I would venture to say in the beginning, it's not only that you're paying just as much as you paid in the city, you're paying more. Now it's different because what you're paying for is yours.
Yes.
Versus oftentimes in the city, or at least when you're renting, you know, you're never going to see a return on that. But in the city, most things are already built and established. You're not paying for that. You're just paying rent.
Yep.
You buy land, unless you pay that off, you have your mortgage of your land, but then you still have all the costs to get everything set up and developed. You still have the cost of building your house or whatever, you know, of everything. Driveways, roadways, all utilities, all infrastructure. You're doing it.
Yes,
So you pay more up front.
He's telling the truth, brothers and sisters, because, you know, people have this raw land dream. I'm going to go and buy some raw land and start. I did that. I think all of us have done that. We started with raw land and we built it up from there. It ain't cheap. It is not cheap to do it that way. I'll just buy a generator. how long you plan on running your generator? Because let me tell you, most generators that you buy from your local Walmart, Target, Harbor Freight, they're not 12-hour-a-day generators, 7 days a week.
Right.
Those generators are made for you to run maybe an hour or two to 3 times a week. They're not manufactured to specs to run 12 hours a day.
Yeah, being honest, those things are not even emergency backup generators.
Nope.
No.
Yeah, they wouldn't even last that long in a true power outage.
That's right. That's right. Do you even have scales coming out? I was just putting a bathtub in today. And and one of the things that I've had to learn is there's a proper way of doing things, like the spec, the code, and then there's the Homestead way of doing things.
Yes,
and that's
sir.
it being functional, working the way it's supposed to, but not to code. And you have to understand that. What are you gonna do with your waste? You want to come off grid, right? Everybody has that dream. I'm coming off grid. All right, what are you gonna do with your waste? I'll just create a compost bin for my waste. How are you gonna get it there?
Right.
I'll poop in a toilet, or I'll poop in a bucket. Are you gonna poop and pee in the same bucket? Because now you're gonna have nasty ass real sewage. This is not a pipe. And ask yourself this question: is your wife and children going to want to share the same bucket that is in your house, where you have fecal matter and urine, and it smells, and every time you open up that lid, it back pressures back into the house because you don't have any relief valves?
Man.
And do you have the intestinal fortitude to go through that for a year or 2 or 3 before you can actually get yourself a real system set up?
Right. At which point you still have to then educate yourself on how to do it. Because unless you have, money, I mean serious money, then you can't afford to pay everyone to come in and do everything, which means now when it's a project, something that needs done, you have to do it. And 9 times out of 10, it's not stuff that you already knew how to do, which means now on top of all the other regular work and chores that you have to get done, you also now have to spend additional time learning how to do, preparing for this next task that's coming. I know that's how it was for me.
Yeah.
Hey, so much for all this extra rest that you think you're gonna be getting.
Oh hell, forget that. Forget that. That whole idea of extra rest is gone. When you're done working, you now have to sit down when the whole family's asleep, men.
Yes,
and
sir.
You got to start cracking open some textbooks.
Yes, sir.
And start reading. How am I going to do this thing? I remember when I was in Arizona, brothers, I would go to work at the warehouse, 10 hours a day, 11 hours a day, then come home and study construction for the next 3 to 4 hours. Everybody's asleep. What was that?
Sorry, I'm looking at Brother Alex's comment. I just happened to glance down and finally catch one now. But I'm laughing because I'm right there with you, and I absolutely agree. He said, here's a tip. If the bucket looks like it might be too full to use, it is. Don't chance it. I absolutely agree.
Don't chance it, because ain't nothing like hitting the brakes when it's too late.
Oh, man.
It's just amazing, brothers, the amount of men, I'm going to bring my family out here. We're going to move out. One of the first questions you should ask is, what are you going to drink? Because you can't grow a garden, you can't have goats, you can't have chickens, you can't even be there without water.
You ain't gonna have.
So how are you going to get your water? What was that?
You're not gonna have it trucked in?
No.
And that, even with that, is like the basic formula, right? Of you can go so many hours without shelter, so many hours without food, a whole lot less hours without water. So that, again, simple due diligence then helps you understand priorities.
Brother Alex said,
the amount of thing that you can go without is water, that seems like that's at the absolute top of the priority list to make sure that that's
Yes.
first and foremost.
Yes.
Water, then food, then shelter.
Brother Alex said, we started by hauling water to the property, and that was rough. I have a well now. Water you can't afford. Trucking water in is expensive and time consuming, especially if you have to go get your own water. It's time consuming. The day I got here, we used rain catchment. To this day, I use rain catchment. But guess what? Even that takes time. Because water doesn't magically end up off your roof into containers and cisterns for water. It doesn't magically happen.
I spent many a nights being soaking wet, going out, changing things over, making sure, hey, you do whatever you have to do when it's raining to ensure that you're catching the water, because you know that you're dependent on it. So therefore, it doesn't matter that it's uncomfortable or any of that other stuff. You do what you have to do to get it done.
Yep. And men, how many of you want to do that? How many how many of you are willing to go to work, come home, have a storm come through, and tell yourself, I got to stay up to make sure I need to go through all of my pipes to make sure they're all clear. Because one small backup, you just lost thousands of gallons of water. One small backup. One acorn end up in your, half-inch pipe. There goes your water. And people around you are only going to want to help you for so long.
Yes, sir.
Before they tell you, listen, go get your own damn water.
Yep.
I was going to help you for the week. I wasn't trying to help you for the month.
No doubt. And to be honest, brothers might not understand this, or men might not understand this, but you can wear out a welcome with your brother if you become dependent on him as if he's your covering. A lot of cats don't get that. They think the brother they love goes so far beyond, and most of the time it's not even based on the Bible. Their thought is not based on the Bible. It's based on their need. Brother, I really need this water, and you ought to do. No, you ought to be a man and go get your water.
Yep.
By any means necessary.
Yep. Because we're all for that initial struggle when you first come out. But let me tell you, so many of you have damn near lost your household because you thought your wife was ride or die. And then what she ended up finding out is there was no riding. It was just die.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Because you had no plan. You had no plan on how to get food. You had no plan on how to get water. So I understand there is that rough it out time. But you want to make that rough it out time as small as you possibly can.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir.
Especially for you brothers, if you've got children, you got to use some common sense. You can't run out your children out there without water. That shit is stupid, and it's unwise, it's foolish, and you're about to have people at your front door that you don't want there.
Man.
Initials.
Yes, sir.
That's
the 3-letter initial, folks.
Yep. Because that's extreme negligence to say my children can't drink water. You shouldn't have to use your life straw at the local lake to get your family water. And that's just being serious. That's foolishness. That's why I have a lot of brothers that ask me about the deserts in Arizona. And I asked them, what's your plan for water? I'm gonna dig a well. Well, I lived out there. Do you know how much people are dropping for wells out there? It's not $5,000 to $10,000. I had a friend at the place I worked at. He lived on the property, had to dig a 4th well. $75,000 for a well.
Man.
And this was his 4th one.
Man.
He couldn't figure out why the 30 acres of property I think was selling at like $750 an acre. Now he knew why.
Wow.
Man.
The water table was so far down, and then the wells had a nature of collapsing on themselves. You dig the well, and then it would collapse.
Man.
So that property ain't really worth it when you're paying $750 an acre, but you're dropping over 200 G's for water.
There's something to be said for due diligence now.
Yes, sir. Man.
It's just being wise. You got small children. You got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old, and you don't have a regular supply of water.
That's something.
An emergency backup plan with water. You don't have food. They come by and say, so how do y'all keep your food refrigerated? Oh, I just go to Sonic's every day.
Oh, man. Oh.
Get that chocolate.
Because one thing about this, brothers and sisters, is that the Bible says for us to be wise. You can't be wise and stupid at the same time. Again, I understand that we all are coming out and that we all are going through our own stages. But you want to mitigate and you want to cut down the possibility for dumb shit happening to you as much as you possibly can.
Yes, sir.
If you do come out and you don't have a lot of water, that may not be the time to go around flossing and talking to all your neighbors. That's the time to shut up and get that situated so that because some of these people, they'll smile on your face all day long.
Yep.
And wait for an opportunity.
With other neighbors.
Yep.
Well,
and
there you go.
Like you said, a report is being filled out, and you got to knock at the door. I even say this, and I know this probably going to hurt some feelings, but when men think about coming out, or if you think about moving, period, you need to be able to, like we just talked about, the transition need to be, smooth as silk. So talking about, I'm polygynous, man, please. Come on. You gotta make, I'm just saying, I would not be adding nobody while I'm in transition.
That's foolish.
I want to get everything. You need to get these things down. Water, food, whatever the case is. But I heard infrastructure mentioned. Whatever kind of utilities you're gonna have, and I just use this. Even if you want to, even off-grid people have utilities. Solar.
Oh yeah.
Rain catchment. That costs money. And I'm not knocking Harbor Freight or any of those places, but a lot of those things that come in there, you already know. It's not like you can hook all that stuff up together to take a 100-watt solar kit and build 3,000-watt solar kit.
That's
not from Harbor Freight. Say again, sir.
That's a camping kit.
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
That's all it is. That is. Because no matter what you say, like if I could have done it differently, just being honest, I wouldn't have come off grid and done off grid right off the bat. I have the ability to have some power with some poles sent to the property. I have the ability. Now it would cost some money, but right off the bat, it would have been nice to have power, especially when you're building your infrastructure.
Right.
You know how much fuel you use running your generators to charge batteries to work on your homestead?
Yes, sir.
Fuel, oil.
It would have been so nice to just be able to plug in a light switch. You know, even if let's just say I even had to pay $5,000 to get the power ran here. Do you know how much I spent on solar panels and batteries and charge controllers and inverters and wiring and fuse boxes?
Yes, sir.
More than $5,000.
And this whole idea that you're going to come off and, use solar and so therefore you don't have a bill, that stuff is so far from the truth. You're always going to pay. There are no free lunches. With an electric bill, you're paying month to month, and if something tears up, that's their problem. All you care about is I'm paying you 10 kilowatts an hour or whatever it is. That's all I care about. With solar, you pay the bill up front. And you hope that your stuff lasts long enough so that you can reach your payback period.
And let me tell y'all, Brother David's saying is true. What I spent for my solar, for everything included, and batteries are getting more efficient, but batteries are expensive as hell.
Yes, sir.
for what I paid for my solar system up to this point, I'm not going to reach the break-even point, and I've had my system for 4 years. I'm still about 3 or 4 years away from breaking even with what I put in, had I just come out here and gotten on the grid.
Wow.
So sure, long term, is it great? Yes, but by that, it's almost a guarantee. But by the time I reach my break-even point, I'm gonna have to buy new batteries.
It's a guarantee.
It's a guarantee.
So there goes that payback period is now just pushed further.
Yeah,
that's just your batteries. You know, y'all forbid an inverter. Like in my case, I had a $1,600 inverter, you know, blow up. Hey, well, guess what? That you couldn't call the electric company and say, hey, no, you are the electric company. You call yourself like, hey, guess what? You got to get another inverter. Your payback period is now that much further away.
Yep.
Your break even.
Yes,
and there are no programs if you fall behind on your electric bill when you have solar.
Nope.
If something breaks, you just don't have power. There's nobody to call and say, you don't understand, how am I supposed to warm my baby formula? What am I supposed to do? There ain't nobody to call.
Well, you're supposed to count the cost. That's what they would tell you. Your due diligence.
Yep. That's exactly it. Yes, tuba, and they do. They always, and that's the thing about, you know, people who say they're in a preparedness. You really don't want to be in a position where you only have one inverter. The problem is if your one inverter costs you $900, do you really got $1,800 to drop on inverters? I have 2 charge controllers right now. They're not cheap. Let's just say I paid, and we're just throwing it out there. Let's say I paid $500 each. That's $1,000. Do you have $2,000? So you can have a backup for each one?
And even if you have $2,000, you got a whole lot of other stuff screaming for that money on the homestead, so that you cannot really afford to have 2 sets of battery banks, 2 sets of charge.
Nope.
I mean, that's just that's not reality.
It's not reality.
Especially not starting out.
So these are the things you have to consider. Sure, is being off grid great? Yes. Sure, if the power goes out, are we safe? Are we good? Do we have electricity? Yes. But here's the problem. We still have the power grid. It would have been nice to have been able to use the power grid, especially when I was building.
Absolutely.
I can't tell you how many times projects ended because I ran out of gas. I'm building up. We can't build anymore because I ran out of gas and the nearest gas station is 35 minutes away. You got to consider these things. As Brother Andre said, feed. You hear everybody. I want cows. The reason why I don't have cows is because I can't afford to feed them over the wintertime. I have goats. And when you talk to men who have cows, and they don't even have a lot of cows, and when you're hearing the amount of feed that they have to pay for their cows,
I think we spent probably $1,500 this year.
Check that. That's not for solar panels, brothers and sisters. That's feed for cow. That's not medication.
Right.
That's just what? Regular hay?
Regular hay.
Regular hay.
And then you need a place to store it, or else you're experiencing some waste there.
Yes, sir.
And you gotta have the ability to buy it earlier in the season when it's cheaper. Because if you wait and buy it now when you need it, well, guess what? Instead of paying $30 or $40 a bill, now you're paying anywhere from $70 up to $100 a bill. So it's just a lot that goes into it.
It's a lot. I mean, we have goats, and we'll usually buy a couple bales for our goats, but that's why I did goats. This is why it's important for you to count the cost. It's important for you to talk to people that are doing this thing already.
Right.
So that they can give you sound advice. Sure, you may want to run out. I want to run out and add me another wife and all that. You're dooming your family.
Yes, sir.
Unless you got mad paper. Now, if you got mad paper, I'll shut up. One of the things you can also do is look around. Let's say you locate an area where you want to live. Look around and see how the people live. If they're not living in tents, it's not a good idea for you to buy a tent. We just had a huge storm come out here. Can you imagine people out here who are living in any sort of fabric material home?
Nah, they would die. Just keeping it real, they would die.
Brother Alex, I know you're out there. I'm not going to say where you are, but do you see many people living in any sort of canvas material house where you are? Tents, yurts, military. Do you see any of that out there? Living full-time in that? There's the answer. He said, not for long.
Exactly. That's a temporary move.
It's a temporary thing.
I was gonna say, y'all were just talking about feet. I was trying to add it up. It's way up under Brother Davis, but I mean, like I was running mostly goats, and then I just recently got a cow. But I just say this, and I had a bale. I think I normally get 4 at a time, and I go take the trail and go pick them up on 2 at a time, but I buy 4 at once. Is what I'm saying. But I was just thinking today, and I was talking to Sarah. I was like, we've been giving goats some grain for the last, I don't know, 3 weeks or something, or whatever, because I want to give them a little bit of mixing up different grains and minerals and give it to them. But I was like, I told Sarah, I said, man, that stuff is expensive. I said, because she said, what you want to feed them today? I said, I'm going to go and hook up to this hay, and I'm going to bring this peanut hay around and put them back on that. And then I was telling her, I said, this peanut hay, a roll that'll last a while. But I guess what I'm saying is all of that stuff has to be, and I'm just using that as an example, say, if you go grain, you're gonna go broke. So you got to figure that out. And it just so happened, we found out that with the peanut hay, the cows can eat that as well. So I'm just looking at that to say that stuff costs money. They ain't giving that stuff away.
No, sir.
When you show up at the feed store for any type of livestock that you have, and I'm gonna just be real, the feed stores, their prices go up quick.
Yes.
I mean, they really believe in inflation. So you gotta have yourself together before, like, I wouldn't even think about adding no more people when I'm coming out. I wouldn't think about adding no livestock yet. Because you need to, like they say, you need to get your housing in order.
Then you got to deal with fencing.
Hey, or people, or animals. Wild, I'm talking about wild stuff. Will be running through there. See, we done heard the stories of the brothers who they go get these animals, but you don't even have a fence up. You don't even have any type of security type animals, dogs or nothing. And you look up and all your chickens gone, or all whatever you got, your goats gone, your cow slaughtered. All of that stuff has to be taken into account before you move on something like this.
Man, it's all truth. I have chickens, and I got a lot of chickens. They're not cheap.
No, sir.
Chickens aren't cheap, and I buy the cheapest of cheap feed, and I ferment my feed. So I actually double and triple my feed, and it's still not cheap to feed my chickens. I have 2 incubators here. I raise chickens. I sell chickens. It's not cheap. And people don't understand that when it comes to coming out. First and foremost, I would say this. First and foremost, brothers, ask yourself this question. And I mean, be honest with yourself. Completely honest. Why do you actually want to come out?
Man, that's an awesome question, brother.
Because if you want to come out because you see us 3 on a YouTube channel, it's a terrible reason.
We are not that special or important.
No, sir.
And you say, I want to come out because the Bible says it. Well, have you started to pull this out first? Because if you just want to make the physical move and you bring the same shit that's in here out there, you're not going to succeed. And be real. If you say, I want to come out because I want more women, then write it down. But write down the first 5 reasons you want to actually come out. And be real with yourself. I want to do it to save money and to live a more agrarian lifestyle. Okay, you want to do it to save money, but you still spend your money on shit. You're traveling the country, spending hundreds of gallons of fuel to visit every single person in every single state, but you want to save money.
Nah. You ain't. I reality, they ain't serious.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
No problem, man. I'm just saying they ain't serious. When guys their priorities is all out of whack, you know they're not serious. It's just like you said, it's for just to have to be able to say, hey, I'm coming out, or I'm just like so and so. That's foolish.
You know, I kind of liken it to people who with different crafts. It doesn't matter what the craft is. If it's woodworking, you have people that actually work the wood, and then you have people who collect tools for woodworking. You know, but they never actually do. They never actually use it. They're more of tool enthusiasts. Same for welders. Like I said, it doesn't matter the craft. You have people that actually do the work, and then you have people who like to collect the tools to do the work. I think a lot of times what I'm saying here is what I would recommend to someone who has not yet come out but believes that they want to, start where you're at. You can start planting gardens and stuff in just containers, you know, old coffee containers or Tupperware bins, whatever you have. And where there's a will, there's a way. You can start planting stuff right there, regardless of wherever you're at. It is possible. Even in an apartment complex, it's possible. I've seen people do it.
Yep. So
that right there could be just a quick and easy test. Hey, start turning that thermostat up some more. Instead of keeping it at 68 degrees or whatever, you know, start incrementally adjusting that.
Yes, sir.
Tell the truth,
say, hey, well, I could never do that. Okay, well, what do you think it would be like on a homestead, especially if you're talking about going off grid?
Oh, man.
All of a sudden, you know, you're just going to get some coming out powers, some mystical powers just because you went through this process? No, it's still real. You still feel the elements.
Yes, sir.
So you can start testing that stuff now. You think you're just going to come out and live in a tent? Okay, have you ever put up a tent? Have you ever spent any time in a tent? These are just practical ways that people could, you know, test themselves and consider these things.
Yes, sir.
You told the truth, bro.
I mentioned tools. Hey, unless you're coming out and you got money where you're paying everyone to come out and do these things, not only do you have to acquire the knowledge, the skill set to be able to do these tasks, you also have to buy the tools. Every trade takes different sets of tools. You want to do fencing? Hey, there's fencing tools you need.
Yes, sir.
You want to start running water, catching water or whatever? Hey, there's plumbing tools you need. Okay, now we start talking about solar. You want electricity? Hey, there's some electrical tools you need. These are things that I'm just kind of throwing out some nuggets of things to consider, things to think about. The way that you cook when you have when you're not going to town every other day. The way that you store food, everything is drastically different.
Oh man, brother David, you killing it.
Yes, sir.
Everything you said, it makes me think back to when I went through it. And it kind of speaks to your heart, man. You know, I hear a lot of times, and I've heard this a lot of men are like, my wife doesn't or won't, make that move with me. And then I'm like, well, can I talk to your wife? And they say, sure. I talk to the wife, and the wife's like, that man is lazy as hell. He's got no skills and no drive, and he expects me to believe. I've seen him start 5 or 6 things and not finish them. I'm talking like something simple like he was going to put me up a flower bed and never did it. He bought all the soil, bought all the borders, and never put it down. She knows the reason why she don't want to come out with you is because she knows she's going to be the one on top of the roof.
Mm-hmm.
She knows she's going to be the one planting the gardens. She knows she's going to be the one going to work and coming home. She knows that already.
Yes, sir.
She knows who you are. That's why she doesn't want to make that move with you. And that's the real reason. She ain't going to tell you that.
Mm-mm. She don't want to hurt your feelings.
That's exactly it.
That's it.
Hey.
Hey, brothers, I'm gonna just throw this out. When we really look back and thought about this, every man that we have ever met that has had a problem with his wife coming out, if we really look back and think about it, it's exactly what you just said, brother.
That's
They
it.
know what kind of man you was. Because if you look at your own household, and from what we know about each other, I didn't have no problem. Y'all didn't have no problem. And women would get behind men that they know are going to get it done, whether
Yep.
they can see it or not. So I just thought about it. I said, I remember that brother right there had a problem. That dude right there had a problem. That guy right there had a problem. Well, she knew who you were. You
Yep.
own it, bro. You just nailed it on down. So guess what?
If there's children involved, she's thinking about the children too. Like, we're going to go out there and we're going to die.
We're going to suffer. And we done heard that we going to die just straight out of a mouth of a woman.
Straight out. A
That make
sister
you
told a brother was trying to expand his house with another wife. And she said, I'm afraid that if I go to his house, I'm going to die. Me, the wife, and the other children.
I had never heard nothing like that before in my life. He was like, we gonna die. I was like, damn, what's going on there?
Die. So it's an amazing thing when you talk about the whole phase of coming out of her. There's no book that a person can write on it, because the first question, I mean, do you even know how you want to live? Because coming out is not a cheap way of living life. Because you're going to either pay for it or you're going to work your ass off. Or you're going to work your ass off and pay for it.
Right.
But, one thing that coming out has done is I've seen a lot of men, brothers, so-called brothers, who talk about coming out and they never do. They'll buy land and shoot videos with them walking on the land, but they never come out. They'll tell you about how important it is for you to come out, but they'll never come out. They'll say things like, we got to do better, brothers. We got to grow our own food. But they'll never do it.
Right. Yes, sir.
And that's where you start to see the real divide between those that are truly, because here's what I say. If you're that flaky with something as simple as coming out, I know you're that flaky with your relationship with the Father.
Yes, sir.
I know you can't take your relationship with the Father that serious if you can't even be real with yourself in this. You'd be better off just saying, I ain't coming out. But hey, I support y'all. I'd like to fellowship with y'all. I think y'all are real, but I ain't doing that shit. I respect that.
Hey, or they always have these, crazy elaborate plans and ideas. Homestead is going to look like this. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And it's like, do you realize how much time, energy, and effort and resources that's going to take you? You're going to do all of this on a shoestring budget?
Right.
If it were really that simple, don't you think that you would look around in this area and see everyone else doing something similar to that?
Oh, man.
Just, Just a food for thought there. Wouldn't other people be doing it if it were just that simple? But no, all those rules won't apply to you because it's you. You're going to come and do this and do that and all this elaborate stuff. And I bet those are the same kind of people that are ultra spiritual.
Right.
You know, super uber religious and have absolutely no walk with the Father whatsoever.
Ooh. I want to read a couple comments. Abundant Life of 5, Sister Priscilla said, I want to give honor to my husband. See, listen to this, brothers. Yes, I stood behind Brother Henry. He got it done all, never giving up. Praise to the Most High. That's the kind of men that we need.
Hallelujah.
That woman has complete and utter confidence in her husband because she witnessed it. She partook in it with him. Woo! Straight out of Judah said, you know what pisses me off though? Most of us brothers were only taught how to F. That's the only thing they know how to do is have sex.
Yep, I get that and I understand that, but I always look at it like this. You know, I was just having a conversation with my son today. There was a tree here on the property that they climb in, and I told him I wouldn't cut the tree down, but long story short, the tree ended up getting cut. So he was upset about that. I was explaining to him, hey, you know, in life, there are always going to be trees that get cut down, so to speak. Meaning this, you're always going to have situations take place that you wish it weren't that way or whatever. You have no control over that. What you have control over is how you handle it, what you do about it. So we have no control over how we grew up, how we were raised, because we weren't responsible for raising us. That wasn't our part. All we can do is once you get to the place where you say, all right, this is what I believe, I'm going to hold this book near and dear to my heart, and I'm going to do my best to absolutely live it.
Man.
Then however we came to that point, everything else is a moot point. It's irrelevant.
Yep.
The only thing that matters at that point is, hey, I wish I would have, you know, you could have a list of 1 million pages of list of what we wish things would be like or be different. Reality is, it just is what it is. We learned what we learned. We came from where we came from. But at the end of the day, hey, we're here now, and it's up to us to then teach ourselves Yah's way, die to ourselves, die to the stuff that the foolishness that we, you know, came up in, and then do the work. Because we can acquire the skills. We can learn righteousness. We can cling close to wisdom, and she will not deny you. That's the book. But we have to be striving for her, and she will dwell with us.
Yes,
he's saying something right there. He's saying something right there, brothers. For those of you who have the ears to hear what he is saying, those are profound and powerful, because I wasn't raised learning how to build a home, gardening, cutting trees down. All solar, brothers, sisters, I didn't know solar. I studied it, and then that's one of the things about having real brothers. I was able to talk to my brother David, learn from his mistakes. I humbled myself, and I allowed the elder in solar teach me how to get it done. That is so foreign. Go ahead, brother.
Hey, you mean the elder in solar didn't call you and tell you when you need to turn your solar panels a certain way, or tell you that you running too much stuff on it? He didn't try to come and lord over your solar panel?
He didn't kick my door down and be like, hey, nigga, why is this wire over here? I called him and was like, hey, nigga, why is this wire over here? And then he was like, then he let me know, brother, that wire is not supposed to be there. I mean, we've done video calls where I'm literally showing him my wiring diagram. Like, brother, what am I doing wrong? He's like, brother, that wire doesn't feed that. That needs to go back to whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay. Thank you.
Hallelujah.
None of us knew these things, brothers. I didn't know how to build. I had never built anything prior to coming out here. I had never welded. All these skills that you say, wow, amazing. You have it in you to do it too. The problem is, number one, you don't want to do it. Number two, you're still waiting for your pastor, elder, teacher to give you the green light. Did not Yah give you the green light to go do it? I didn't wait for it. Had I been waiting for the elders, teachers, pastors to give me the green light, I'd still be sitting under them. Because that's what they want you to do. They want you to sit under them and continue to be their disciple. When Yah's already called you to go do this thing. He told you to come out. He didn't say come out as a group. He said you come out.
Oh, man. Sorry, brother. We got to read Isaiah 33's comment. That was excellent.
What did he say? What did he say?
Let me find it. He said, hold on, it's moving on me. Where did it go? Man, hold on. Let me find this comment.
Is it the one he says, if you have faith?
Something about if they were really serious about it, they would go back and look at the videos.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Maybe that's the one that's retracted.
Hold on.
I think he just put it back up.
Okay, thank you, brother. If they were really about it, they would just go and watch the videos and rewind your videos. I learned to build mine from watching HOQ videos.
Ooh.
And that is so true. So, I mean, with both of y'all, there is so much information on y'all's channels. I mean, just on everyday doing stuff type of information. And wisdom and knowledge. And I listen to these people. And then you ask I hear these basic questions. And so I ask, well, how long have you been listening? Oh, I've been listening for a year or 2 years or whatever. In my mind, I'm like, that's not possible. Either you're an extremely slow learner, and I'm short bus, so I get being slow, but if you're short bus, that don't mean you just use that as an excuse. That just means you got to press harder.
Yes.
If everybody else is running 80 miles, you got to be running 100 miles. That's all that means. So it's possible. There's so much stuff already here that's already been shared, is my point. That for people who are really striving and all they needed was the information, hey, it's available. But for a lot of people, though, that's too much work to go back through older videos. They'll come and ask you the same question, something that's already been answered, 1,000,000 times. That was a great comment.
That was an excellent comment. He's made quite a few of them. I was looking through. He said, if you have faith, you're not a tare or 2/3, then go. He says, if you do what I say, I will command blessings on you. So why are you men and women afraid? Get under a man, and men get under Hamashiach.
That's it.
It's that simple. We have too many men who operate in fear. If you know Yah put it in you and told you it's time for you to come out of her, then you need to start seriously planning and not sitting back and just wait. Yah's going to tell me to go, and we're just going to pack up and go. Let me tell you, y'all have heard my story of coming out. I'm also going to tell you this. You've also heard my way of buying land. Let me tell you something. My way of buying land and my way of coming out is not the wisest way of doing it. Buying land sight unseen almost had one dude build his house in $1 million area on the edge of a cliff when he wanted to live off grid. houses that were, I mean, easily what, 5,000 square feet, 2-story garages,
But even
not
with
a
that,
goat. Oh, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
even with that though, you didn't come and see it, but you did your due diligence though.
Oh,
You
yes.
knew what was all in the area. You knew everything about that property up and down before you stepped foot on it. That's not
Yeah.
the same thing as just saying, hey,
That's
I just
true.
randomly bought a piece of property.
That's true. Because I called the people around the area. I had the realtor do a video tour of the external property, of the road, of my neighbor's properties. I got as much info. I looked at the demographics. For some reason, we don't do that. We don't ever want to look at the demographics. I mean,
No.
isn't it important if you're a man of color? Isn't it important to know that you might be the only one out there?
It's super important.
There you go. There you go. I looked at the town surrounding them. I looked at the news articles from the town surrounding the area that I live in to figure out, are there any hate crimes out here? Because if so, I want to know. I looked at the crime statistics. Since I knew I wanted to do rain catchment, I wanted to know how much it rained every single year. When are the good months? When are the bad months for rain? I looked at the tornado activity out here. I didn't just say, hey, brother, you're cool. I want to try and buy land near you. That's the stupidest way to come out of her.
I was gonna say that one brother, did he have he was moving out there on a lake with boats and stuff. I don't remember him saying he had a boat. While people out there balling, they got boat houses.
They have boat houses, no joke.
The boat houses would have been bigger than his house.
Yes, sir. Easily.
I mean, they had manicured land. Land. I'm talking acre and a half of just grass, manicured. I was like, people out here grow grass for cows. There ain't no animals out here. Where he was, there was no animals out there. It was just manicured grass.
Hey, could you imagine chickens out there? A rooster going off over there with all them folks. He would have got ran out. I'm sure. We already told him he'd have got ran out for real.
For real. For real.
Those are things you need to know. I heard quite a few guys that be like, hold on, we know of a guy that got land going uphill both ways. He didn't even try to check it out. Oh man.
I didn't even know that was possible until we saw it. I was like, wait a minute, so you come onto your land going uphill and you leave your land going uphill? You go uphill from your house to get water and then uphill from the water back to your house? How is that even possible?
Man. Hey, it was something else that we talked about too. You know, at one time we talked about the men thinking that I need to go get 20 acres. I need to go get 200 acres or 30 acres. Hold on a second, man. Pump your brakes. Was you a good groundsman at your own crib?
Right.
When you was in the city? Was you really about that life? What are you talking about? Well, man, I want to give me some livestock. I want to get some goats and chickens. You don't need that much land. I'm just saying, if y'all have given you a vision to do something with that, that's one thing. It's another thing to do it because you know all the brothers got 5+ acres, so you want to be like them, and you want to get at least in the middle somewhere. You want 30.
Right.
I can tell you right now, most of the dudes is not going. If you really think about what your homestead have, unless you have like cows or horses or things of that nature, if you want to be real about it, most guys ain't gonna even hold down 10. That's just being real.
At all.
You ain't gonna even cover the 10.
Most of y'all won't even cover 2.
That's facts.
And that's being real. Unless you have a big plan. Because some of y'all are being stopped from coming out because you want 15 acres that you're going to finance, and it's going to take you 5 to 10 years to pay it off, when you could have paid off 3 or 4 and been out.
And the extra cost doesn't stop there either. You got to think about every project afterwards. If you have to redo some fencing, think about that.
Shit.
I'm trying to figure out
fencing 5 acres versus 10 acres is a big difference.
It's a big difference.
Big difference.
Hey, fencing a half acre, you're gonna be like, I'm gonna do 10. I'm gonna do 15. I'm gonna do 30.
I fenced a 1/4 acre for the goats. I was pissed off when I was done. I was like, you know what? F all y'all. I ain't getting goats. I was mad because and it's not the land's not even flat. So fencing land that's not flat is a pain.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you'll be mad before you ever even get out there to start the fencing. You'll be mad just when it hit your pocketbook.
Oh,
yes, sir.
Man. Oh man.
Yes, sir.
Because people don't even consider and this is the thing. You have to have your financial game in order, brothers. You can't be, I'm missing rent payments, but I want to come out.
Yes, sir.
Because do you know how much fencing, and especially right now, what T-posts cost?
Man.
I mean, I was just at Home Depot. 6-foot T-posts. $5.24 per T-post. For a 6-footer. You're not fencing. You're not going to fence an acre of land with 12 T-posts.
Now, them jokers go what? Every 8 feet?
Every 8 feet.
Yes, sir.
Every 8 feet.
53,560 square feet. I think that breaks down to 208 by 208, roughly.
Yes, sir.
Maybe 202 square.
Yes.
Linear feet.
So you're talking 20 to 30-ish plus T-posts per side. So that's 150 per side. At least 150.
Just
wait a minute. No, yeah. What was that?
Just for the T-post.
Not the wire or the fencing or the clips or the front gate. Nothing. That's just the T-post.
Nope. Gates cost money. Man. I mean, those things are serious things. Oh, I just tell you this. When we just fenced off a half acre that the house sits on. And that's where I have everything. Matter of fact, I got everything on the half acre. That's why I say you won't even touch. Like, I got over 10. But we won't even, some things we won't even touch.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Because you're gonna want to have you're gonna want to see your livestock, even if I move them away a little bit away. You still want to be able to reach them if something get back there. Because like we have bears in our area during this time of year. But what I was gonna say is the other thing is count up the cost when you're gonna fence. Like when we fenced in the winter, baby. We fenced in the cool.
Yeah.
We didn't fence it. I mean, in Florida, it should be down there 90 degrees. Sometimes over that. We ain't fencing in the summer. That's the kind
Let me tell you, I'm doing fencing right now, and I'm doing it right now because we just had storms come through. The ground is soft. I'm not going to be out here pounding 300, 400 T-posts when it's 95 degrees outside and the ground's like a rock.
Yes, sir.
I ain't doing it. I'm like, listen, all the goats are about to escape. Every single one of them. And that's the thing. A lot of people think coming out it's a cheap thing. You don't have to have finances. You don't have to have money.
Nope.
You're gonna need money, and you're gonna need a flow of income. Even if you're working while you're doing it, you need a flow of income. You need it's like a balance because you need to spend the money, but then you also need to put the time in.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And if you're always at work, you're not putting the time in. But if you're putting all the time in on the homestead, you're not bringing in the money.
There's only so many hours in the day.
Yes, sir.
And you only have so much energy.
I was just looking at brother Alex comment. He said it fits the full acre on a hillside in June. He said that was bullshit.
I imagine.
Hey, brother Maccabee said down there, I know he down there like in Central or South Florida. Hey, he said it was 102. I don't know what fencing you gonna be doing out there. Somebody gonna need to be hauling you some water. So guess what you need? Rain catchment, some utilities or something. Cause you about to fall. I'm just saying, if you're doing stuff like that, you about to fall out. All that stuff have to be, the costs have to be counted up.
Yes, sir.
That's all we really saying. Do you count up the cost? Are you that type of man? Because if you really want to think about it, men are supposed to be stewards.
Yes.
We're supposed to be owners. Watch that now. Over possession, over things. And what I truly believe that Yah only gives certain things to certain people based on their ability. And you can find that in the word. If you just look at the parable of the steward.
Yes.
He didn't give everybody 10. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when I look at that, I mean, y'all is gonna be looking at your ability. So design or one with another, bro, that's something we shouldn't do. We say, hey, y'all, however you want me to run this thing, hey, that's what I do.
Yes, sir.
And it should just be that.
Yes.
I don't have the same amount of acreage as Brother David. That's just being real.
Nope.
And I can say, because I have acreage, a lot of times less is more.
If y'all, for those of you who want just an ample amount of acreage, just ask Brother David to tell you his stories about brush hogging before he got the brush hog.
Man,
listen to those stories.
Even with
it'll make you think real quick.
Like, man.
What was that?
Even with a brush hog, you still like, man. So less is more. You can do more with less because it becomes more affordable. It really does.
Yeah.
And it's less areas that you're focused on and worried about. Unless it's for a specific purpose, I would just say less is more.
Yes, sir.
Getting down to that sweet spot of about 5 to 10 acres is really optimal.
It is. You can build a very nice homestead. Not just a very nice homestead, you could have generational housing.
Yes, sir.
On 5 to 10 acres. Like I said, I'm right there with HOQ. I have about the same amount of acreage that he does. And let me all tell y'all, maybe 3/4 of an acre, maybe, is what I've used.
And the only time that I would suggest more is if you're dealing, wooded areas. It depends on the ratio of, woods to pasture.
Yes.
But open area, you're maybe going to use an acre or two.
Right.
Then you get you a couple of acres in the woods, so for that purpose, and some acreage for border, buffer zone, and that's it.
Yep. That's why you have to ask yourself the question: why are you really coming out? What's the point?
Yes, sir.
Because I know for a fact, especially a lot of men of color, one of their primary motives behind coming out of her is adding women. We've seen it countless times where men simply want to fellowship with us, come onto the channel, be seen on videos. Hey, brother, you doing a live stream? Because I'd love to be on a live stream with y'all, buying land, spitting mad game about what they're going to do. It's just about adding women.
I agree.
Seems like it's easier ways to do that.
It is.
Just go to a club.
Yep.
Right. Man.
It's foolishness. And that's what the faith has become. And we're talking about the real, true, authentic faith, brothers. Coming out of her, if you don't have your mind right before you come out of her, you're going to fail. And you cannot clearly articulate to yourself, to your wife, and to your children why you're making this step.
There we go.
Why are you? Why do you expect them to follow you?
You should.
Like I said, you shouldn't. Wives know how you are, brothers. I mean, there are plenty of wicked women in this world. No joke. But see, a lot of you brothers are real undercover. She know how lazy you really are.
Yep.
And you trying to convince her to make this step with you. Now, I'm not condoning her disobedience either. She should never disobey. But in that situation, you're looking at it and she's like, you're going to bring me out there to die or get hurt.
In a lot of cases, you're getting out of her exactly what you put in.
Yes, sir.
Damn.
You talked about conditioning earlier, Brother David, and you mentioned the air conditioning and things of that nature. I think another thing brothers don't consider is women like to bathe. While dudes be talking about, I want to add women to my houses, or I want to have more children. Those people require baths. I'm just saying. You see what I'm saying? They don't think. Well, while I'm in the city or urban area, wherever I'm at, I'm bathing maybe 2-3 times a day, or 1 time a day, whatever it is. But what happened if that get reduced to a couple times a week? What happened if that got reduced to weekly?
Right.
So those things have to be considered. So that go along with, I'm just saying it still goes along with just the mere basics. Water. Some guys like to come out and know they don't have the first job set up.
Oh man.
You don't have nothing set up. You just gonna quit cold turkey.
Hey.
And all of a sudden now you think that Walmart or the local lumber company or whatever they have there, you think that that's going to be sustainable for you to get the things that you've been used to getting while you were in that city dwelling or whatever that was.
Right.
Your part of your life. And it just don't work. I'm going to be honest. It's a major turn off for brotherhood for me when I hear a guy say he just going to quit his job cold turkey and move out somewhere, or he just going to drop everything he have and he really don't have a plan. I'm just, and the catchphrase is always, brother, I'm trying to do whatever the Most High is telling you. So the Most High is telling you to quit your job and don't worry about how you're going to take care of your family. That's how the Most High operates. That's how that's indicative of him when you look through the pages of the book.
Right.
I don't even get that. I was just telling my friend, I say, you know what? I know women, they'll as they say, I hear guys say their women will ride or die and all this stuff. I get all that. But when you tell your wife, hey baby, you ain't gonna be able to bathe for about a week or two, because it's gonna take us a while to get some rain catchment set up. Or hey, I know you like charging up your cell phone, but we ain't gonna have nothing to charge up your cell phone with right now because we just gonna wing it. And I'm even go far as this. I went and got some fuel today, right? And I got in a place I wouldn't normally get it. The pumps, now I'm gonna just say this because this is why. The pumps was out of unleaded and mid-grade. So an old man was like, he was fussing and cussing because he was like, he thought the place was out of gas, period. That's all he's saying. I read the sign on the door, and so I went inside and say, do you have premium? Premium gas down here is $3.60 some a gallon. I got it because I needed it. But what I'm trying to say is, we talking about simple things like that. Are you able to get fuel for your generator to power up your phone? And I don't even agree with this either. You won't see me firing up my truck to charge my phone.
Nope.
That ain't gonna work, player. I'm not doing it.
Or sleeping in your vehicle?
No, I'm not gonna be cutting on my vehicle to go to sleep in it, and we talking about we coming out. That's not coming out. That's putting your family through more hell and stress.
That's what it is.
How can a woman trust you when you've been squandering everything you ever got? That ain't being a good steward. Even Moses left his wife with her dad, his father-in-law, to go take care of the Lord's business.
Yep.
Sometimes you gotta learn how to be a man and move without dragging everybody through the hell you gonna go through.
Man.
That's thinking in advance. I'm gonna just be honest. I noticed something about my father. Whenever we moved, he would go ahead. I ain't saying that for everybody, but in a lot of cases, he would go ahead, establish his work, his job, or whatever he was, to make money, and then he would start building, and then he would send for us. I thought I'm a builder. I still think it's wise. Not you just coming out, hey y'all, we ain't gonna worry about nothing. I'm coming out on. You can't come out. I'm just gonna say it. You say what you will. You can't come out on $2,000. And I know a lot of dudes, they think they doing it because you can go do the buy here on land, but that ain't gonna work. Not long term. Because by the time
I didn't do that, and I didn't come out here with a lot of money. Even I didn't do that.
I mean,
you said some things, brother. You said some things that really got me thinking. Can you imagine a man who's about to come out? Hey, brother, I'm interested in your daughter as my second wife. All right, cool. What you got going on? I'm about to buy some land, and I'm about to move my truck out there and stay in the back with my family. So, what do you want my daughter for? Well, I'm trying to build a righteous nation. I'm nation building. And, I think that your daughter would fit my house perfectly. Well, what's your plan to give them water? We going to the beach. Well, how are they going to eat? How are they going to eat, Sonics? But if you don't have water, let's just say that my daughter starts her flowers, her menses. How's she going to get clean? Mud puddles?
Man.
But that's not a plan. How does your wife get clean during her time of uncleanliness without water? How does she stay fresh?
That's a plan for.
Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
To come and have that kind of conversation is a plan for an ass whooping.
Yeah, for real. Right. You trying to get hurt.
Man.
I mean, a good test would be, how did you handle the pandemic? I mean, I'm just gonna keep it like it is. If for those women that call themselves looking at these men, or the men have gave them an offer, all you have to do is find out how the brother handled himself during the pandemic. Was he at the store every week? Watch that now. Was he at the store every week, or was he able to order enough food for months in advance?
Man.
And write it out. Watch this. Was he able to allow his family to not come off the property exactly like that?
Woo!
That's preaching a sermon alone.
Isaiah 33:6 said, yeah, you can if you own the land and you're a man by yourself. And that's why I advocate men. If you trying to come out with $2,000 and a truck, by yourself is the way to do it.
Absolutely.
This is why I kind of have regrets about my past and the things that I spent money on before. Had I been wise, I would have bought some land, pulled a truck up with a camper shell in the back, and started from there. Because if you're working a job every day, even if it's Taco Bell, you can do that by yourself with your vehicle. You can't do that with your family. And no place to put them.
That's true.
Because I can do a sponge bath and a couple gallons of water. I'm not sponge bathing my children every day for a week. Not doing it. So by yourself, absolutely you can do that. Absolutely. And a lot of men, instead of running off and trying to get a wife real quick, why don't you get your shit established first?
Yes, sir.
Which is why a lot of these men have to go get women who have no father.
Yep, unprotected. They just pray.
They just pray. They just pray. There's some questions I want to read. Brother Daryl Vick said, here's a thought on faith versus faith. Faith, F-A-I-F, fakers abound in foolishness. The acronym. Faith, F-A-I-T-H, followers abiding in true holiness.
Hey.
I like that.
That's nice. I like
that.
I like that too.
I like that. Faith versus faith. Brother Alex said, LOL, have a plan. Wandering the wilderness was a punishment, not a plan.
Wow.
Going without water was a punishment, not a plan.
Man.
And then we have a question from Asin today. Have there been people in the faith who send money to others who are willing to allow them to homestead with them? I'm just curious and learning.
So what now?
Read it again.
Like male or female?
Yeah, that would be a good question. Because Asin today, I don't know if. Okay, here. When I read that question, here's what I think. If you're a male and you're sending money to homestead with somebody else, nobody can come onto the rock and homestead with me. You are coming onto the rock under me in some way. If you're a male, you're coming in as a servant, in which we will have a certain amount of time that you will work here. Some of the money will come to me. Some of it you're going to keep. And then when a certain time is up and you bought your land, I send you to your land with some chickens and goats so that you are firmly established there. If you're a woman.
95%, are you?
Oh, no, I'm not keeping 95%. No. Because the whole point is I want him to leave the land.
Right, exactly.
This is not his inheritance.
No.
I want him to go.
Yes, sir.
Unless it's a lifetime servant, and in that case, I would even think, do I even want that?
Right.
Yeah.
Do I even want a lifetime servant? Because I can't say I would. If you're a woman and you come in as a handmaid, again, there is criteria for that. But the whole idea of kind of like I think sometimes people get the idea of the faith and like a mutual assistance group confused.
Right. Yep.
So I'm not bringing anybody in as a mutual assistance group. Like, you're just part of me.
And even with her question, I mean, we strongly speak against this craziness about, because I'm not saying this you, sister, but I know men and women, we know men and women alike. They want to, and I'm just saying they want to take the easy route. So what they'll do is they don't mind giving up 95% of their pay to live at some already established place. But what they don't realize is you just a servant.
Yep.
Straight up. And I would just say this, it's better for a woman, and this is just how I feel about it. It's better for a woman to come in under a man, as his possession, no matter what he delegates for you to be, whether that's from handmaiden all the way up to wife or whatever the case is. And it's much better for men to go get your own shit. And now I'm not against you if you want to be a servant to another brother, a Hebrew brother, for a period of time, and we know that period of time is not no damn 10 years.
No.
You need to be getting your stuff together. You need to be having yourself together while you serving this brother and helping him. Not only that, helping him with what the projects he got, but working your behind off to make your own paper so you can hit the road.
Yep.
That's just being
we're not one of those guys in the in the Bible. When I look at the best leaders in the Bible, they help men grow and then sent them away.
Yes, sir.
They didn't help men grow and then say, your freedom is when I die, nigga. No, they helped you grow and then they said, now go. My job was not to raise you up and then keep, I mean, even in a father and a child situation, the child's there for what? Not long in reality. And then he's gone off himself to make a name for his father, but using his name doing it.
Yes, sir.
This whole idea of you're going to stay underneath me until I die is foreign. So like Brother Andre said, he's right. For a man, it'd be, hey, you know what? We'll do a year or two. We'll do 1 year. For me, I would say we're going to do 3 months. I want to see if you're worth anything because I ain't trying to have you sign no 1 year plan and then try to go to the courts. Well, we signed a 1 year lease and he's trying to remove me early. No, we're going to sign in 3 weeks. A 3-week tryout. If I like you, I'll include it. I'll make it a month to month. And then we'll see how you are from there. But the whole point is you got to go. Because I'm not trying to have you, now you want to take a wife and bring her to my property. And one of us brothers here has had it where brothers tried to sneakily, with them and their families, tried to sneakily make this brother's land their permanent residence. And it's the one that's not laughing. It happened to him.
Oh,
man. Now that's an adjustment in itself. You know, having people on your land that's really not a part of your house, that's a big adjustment, man.
It is.
It put a nasty taste in your mouth too. Cause you know how everybody ain't gonna do like you do.
That's so true.
You know, everybody might not put your tools back in the right spot. Everybody might not respect your land. See, that's the difference. And I don't know. I guess I'm not really like that anymore. Like I remember when I first came into this thing, I thought about, turning my place into a community, not straightway, but a community, what they call a intentional community and all that stuff. And I was like, you know what? I don't even like people like that.
Yep.
Not to the point of where you want them in your face all the time.
Yep.
It's different when it's your household because that's what it is. It's different when we fellowship. Now us, we different. We fellowship all the time and we see each other as much as possible. But that's because we are alike in so many ways. But to have somebody when you're trying to work on a project and they got this new idea they want to tell you about and where they think things will be better, because inherently men try to they head button all the time. Well, you can be doing that on my land.
Yep.
So it's always best for you to go get your own.
Yep.
That's very true.
That is.
I'm just being real. I don't know why, but yes, we know sometimes we can use some help. But I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know if I want another man on my land. I'm good.
I love peace.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, even in these so-called Hebrew communities that do it, they still got legal issues that they got going on because people are like, hey, you stole my shit. No, I didn't. Yes, they did. No, I didn't. So they got the same thing going on. When you do that sort of stuff, you're almost asking for legal issues. Because the person that leaves is going to say in one way or another, hey, I didn't agree. And then it also looks weird. Imagine going to court and saying, yeah, I gave this dude 95% of my shit. They'd be like, damn. They don't even do that. 95? They ain't gonna sit well. So you just gotta be smart about it, and the smartest way for me to do it is just not to.
Yes, sir. I agree with that 100%. I heard my son tell me, when he was talking about people that they came and stayed at your home and stuff, he was like, Dad, you know, when you look at the laws and stuff around here, he was like, you know, it ain't even good for a person to come to your house and bring their toothbrush and stay for 3 days, 3 or 4 days.
Wow.
He said, you know how people be, he said they can work the law to where they actually was living there. Because it might probably was a little bit more than 3 days. But do you get what I'm saying? So I'm going to tell you something. When folks be visiting me, I'd be like, I hope they ain't bringing their toothbrush because they can't stay here. You can't live here.
Yep.
Hey, I saw a question on here too. One question was, I think it's about a sin today, 219.
Yes.
He said, if a woman has no covering, is it okay for her to purchase land? I start off with no.
No.
Because if you plan on, if the plan is, if y'all's plan for your life really is to be covered, how do you know if that man wants to stay with you buying land? Because people only buy land where they plan on staying.
I believe for an uncovered woman, being covered should be so important for her that she's not tying herself anywhere. Financially, and I'm talking about she's not even going to go out and finance a car. She wants to make sure, and the sisters actually have a video about that coming out next week. She wants to make sure that she is fluid, that she can flow into his house, let go of whatever needs to be let go of, and just add to his house. But if you buy land and you say, hey, I want to live in Michigan, and your husband's in Tennessee, or the guy that you're interested in, and you start hitting it off, and then it goes further, but he's in Tennessee, now what? Well, I'll just sell the land. Well, why don't you just keep the money? So that the land doesn't become a hurdle or another obligation that has to be taken care of.
Yeah, I agree. If I were in that situation, I mean, I'm not a female, but my advice to an uncovered female would be to put all of her energy and focus into getting covered, and then let y'all do the rest from there. But I think that's where the appropriate starting place would be. Now, if it's like a widow or something, then maybe it's I don't know, maybe find a brother that you could be on their land. If, someone will let you come on and join them that way. But, you don't really see uncovered women in the Bible, and that's for a reason. Y'all always designed for them to be protected.
Yes, sir.
So I just try to stick to the book and do it that way. That would be my advice.
Yes.
Yes, sir. I totally agree. Even with the widow part, I mean, she still has that. And what Brother David is saying, I don't want y'all to get this misconstrued. He's not saying that widows can come stay with a righteous brother and she runs her own program. She just living on the land, doing her own thing in her own world. No. Covered is covered. Covered is submitted. Matter of fact, you might as well put those words together. If you are covered, you are submitted to a man. And watch this. In everything. Not something. In everything. If he say, hey, nobody's going off the land today because of this, the weather, blah, 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 whatever it is, they would have to understand that, because, and we understand this because women get this so misconstrued that I just gonna stay with a brother and I'm gonna still run my own program, even though we have even though I'm, let's say in the widow's case, I'm older, so I'm just doing my own thing. No, if you want to do your own thing, you need to go where your children are at, what sons are at, what nephews are at, where those men are who are part of your bloodline, you need to do like what Ruth and Naomi was doing. Hey, I'm out of here. You go and get married, do your thing, but I'm out of here. I'm going back to my folks. That kind of thing. Not your own. Now, this ain't the Oprah Winfrey show where you can just do whatever you want to do. Hey, brother, I'm coming on your. Is it okay if I come on your land? Well, you know what, brother, I'm gonna be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm not gonna participate in this. When you do the garden, I won't be doing the garden. I'm gonna be going on and off the property during the pandemic as much as I see fit. I'm gonna be visiting my children over here, going just fun. No.
Nope.
That's a rebellious woman.
Yep. Think about umbrella, sisters, when it talks about covering. You think about covering, think of an umbrella. If it's pouring rain outside and you remove the umbrella, you're going to get your weave wet. That's the importance of a covering. So that's why there's a difference between you just running off. I'll join your land, brother, but I'm going to be over here running my own show. Well, you're not covered then. You're just a renter. And my place ain't for rent.
Nope.
Lights acting damn fool. But to be honest, we get that question a lot from sisters, can I just buy my own land? I mean, sure you can. That's great. And before you know it, you'll find yourself a husband who's like, hey, I'll just move on to your land. I'll just leave my apartment and move on to your property, baby.
Sure.
I'll be the covering on your property. I'll cover you.
Hey.
They do too.
They sure do cover you. All right, if there's any questions, yep, we're 2:11. We're ending this at 3 hours. So if there are any questions, please go ahead and start asking. Oh, she asked another question. All right, brothers. I believe in submission 100%. What happens to a woman who wants righteousness but has no guidance and wants to come out of this world?
I defer to you.
I'll let y'all shoot first.
I would suggest finding a man that's willing to cover you. In layman's terms, get you a husband.
Get you a husband, girl. You know what? To add to the question for me, I'm going to bring Lydia and Ebony.
That sounds great right there. That's all.
Because I figure she can hear it from women who might have been in that same position. I mean,
yes, sir.
This is the question. I believe in submission. Not me. I mean, I do believe in submission, but obviously I'm not, you know what I'm saying. I believe in submission 100%. What happens to a woman who wants righteousness but has no guidance and wants to come out of this world? All right, I think that Lydia's going to shoot first because she said, Come closer. Go ahead.
So if you are looking to be covered, one of the best things you can do, if you're listening to this channel, like on a regular basis, and you see a brother that says, hey, I'm in the faith, I don't suggest that you willfully just be talking. I mean, you can ask him questions, ask him, what is he doing? How is he living? Has he prepared himself to have a wife, to have a next wife? Is he out of Egypt in the sense? Or is he still in the city saying, hey, don't worry, I plan on because I plan on is a no, just a straight no.
Wait, so if I say, wait, we gotta check this one out. So if I was living in the city and I said, you know what I'm saying, baby, you know what I'm saying, and I had the lips too, I was like this.
That already been a no.
Oh, I was like, you know what I'm saying, you know, I'm about to come out, I got me some land, you know, and I had the land. What if I was even able to produce a deed that I own the land?
Well, that's great, but what if you're in the city? Then what are you doing with the land?
Oh, all right. So essentially, you're saying that she should get covered.
She should get covered.
Okay.
And that's what I said. If she's following this channel, the brothers here, do not mind vetting that man. Like, if you have no guidance, like, hey, or you could probably just send an email like, hey, Brother Chris, do you know some righteous men? That's one way of doing it.
All right, Ebony. Come
on. If she wants to get covered and she understands what it is to be covered, this is a good start. Asking questions. We have the sisters chat. She can join, so she can get ask the sisters questions about what she should be doing, giving them advice for the sisters that are already doing it and have been through the process and are going through the process, or seasoned sisters or older sisters who are already married in the faith, and already sisters who are already in a biblical marriage. Asking questions, speaking to the in the chat. If she feels that she's in the chat regularly, she can see how take advice from the brothers, my master and his brothers, on what they're saying, giving the sister, showing them what a righteous man is supposed to look like, sound like, and how they move. And get covered. Ask a lot of questions.
That's good stuff.
Sure.
I may say something else.
Go ahead.
The other thing is if you want to homestead, like you're like, oh, I want to come out completely, mentally, and the whole physical. If you had already been like, things kind of look crazy out there, I'm going to start stocking up, storing up things. Make sure you have your things in your affairs in order. Understand that when you come into a family, it is not yours and yours alone. Say you have a house right now. I don't know, not my business, but understand, if you're getting a righteous husband, when he says, guess what? That's going up for sale. That submission needs to be there.
That's when that submission is really tested. That's when that submission is really tested. But I got a good job. Yeah, not anymore.
She can even go back to our past videos, our master's past videos on sisters getting covered, and get information there, and she can get more questions. Maybe it's things that she didn't think about that she may have questions on her, certain aspects of things. She can even go through our master's channel to get information that way too, to get a start.
She responded, I know men who don't want righteousness. These men don't agree with the faith, but I have desired to be in biblical marriage for years. I come here to learn. Well, the world's going to be full of dudes that want what we call or term polygyny. Most of them are just called players.
There we go.
And to be honest, I've run across a lot of women that are interested in polygyny. And that interested in polygyny, what that really means is that they would try it out. Well, you don't try out marriage.
Nope.
So, and then House of Benya made a good comment. Sisters must look deep within and really see if they are as submissive as they claim before they even talk to or reach out to a righteous brother.
Or he'll know.
Yeah, he'll know. I think in reality, it's less of the woman needs to, and it's of the man to test, because every woman's gonna say they're submissive. I think it's for the man to actually run those tests and maybe even get that sister in front of other sisters and other men who could see, is this woman really what she says she is?
Right.
Because I just don't think that women are going to, every woman is going to be the best at whatever she is from her mouth.
It's like shadow boxing.
You're a great boxer when it's you in the mirror. Then you go dancing out there in your first fight and you do that one move you learn on the internet, and then when you wake up, you realize you're not a good fighter.
Yep.
So that's why I think for us, men, we are the ones that when a woman comes by and says, well, I'm submissive, it's for us to see it.
That was good stuff, brother. I would even throw this in. I mean, the sisters just nailed it down in the sense of you need to really be dealing with sisters in the sisters chat. That's a good ground level starting place or whatever. And then I would even say this, and this even beyond the sister chat. You just got to be careful nowadays. And of course, we know men have to be careful, but women got to be careful because it's a lot of brothers that's popping off righteousness, but it's so far from the truth as a shine. I'm just saying that because we deal with dudes.
Yeah, we do.
We deal with dudes to the point that we be like, nah, I ain't fool. We talk about this amongst ourselves. We be like, nah, we ain't gonna fool with that right there. I'm good. Because there's no need of us investing in a person, and that's just like women. No, it's just like a man. No need to invest in a person you know they just ain't gonna do right.
Right.
It's a game. Like this ain't a game for us. This life. That's what it is. I mean, that's how we live it.
Yes.
And I ain't saying that's for every brother. I'm just saying I keep those things in mind. We all got daughters. All the men here that you see, we got daughters. So we take this shit serious. This serious. This is our life.
Chubby dress.
So just because the dudes run up and say, "Hey, girl, I'm righteous. I'm lit. I've got a biblical marriage." Well, I'm like, hold on a second. What all do that consist of? You got a biblical marriage. What? Is that just polygyny?
Right.
Is that just sex? Is that just having a bunch of children, but you don't know what to do with them? You don't know how you're gonna feed them? And I just say this: killing every goat or cow you got ain't the answer. You know, some brothers, I ain't gonna never have to worry about food. Right here now, I'm just thinking in my mind. I heard somebody say in my house that it's a possibility I could buy, I don't know, 3 or 4 female goats. And I'm thinking now, because I was gonna hold off, but I'm thinking now, okay, how much is that gonna cost me? What is it gonna cost me long term? So to me, that's righteous dudes like that. Righteous dudes really ain't even thinking about women like that. I know that sounds bad, but I'm being honest. Righteous men, they're not thinking about women exactly like you would think. They're thinking about what they already have and how can they make that better. That doesn't mean that y'all don't open up the door for men to take on more.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying in general, to me at this stage, I'm gonna just say at this stage of life, I'm 44.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about how many women can I add, because that'll just happen. It'll just happen. But I am thinking about how many, do I want to add some more goats? Or do I want to add, or do I want to build something different? how am I going to handle this next, whatever. So I'm just throwing that out there to say it's a lot. It's a lot in marriage, but throwing with the sisters would be great because they're because they're in our homes. These wives are in our homes. They can tell you, hey, now I went fool. We don't know nothing about this guy.
Right.
Or they'll say, hey,
Right.
I need to talk to my husband because I ain't never heard of this guy. My husband don't even deal with this guy. We ain't never even, we don't know where this guy came from. So sometimes it's good to sit back and just do what you're supposed to do, work on you, and let that thing develop the way it's supposed to develop. Making yourself known is great. That's all of that is good. Matter of fact, if you really knew if men and women like really knew what polygynous men look like, it was no big thing.
Nope.
I just got through talking to both of my wives in the last couple nights about Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, and I just use this as an example. Those men, and it's a lot of men out there, they operated in polygyny just like our forefathers. And that ain't a big thing to them.
Nope.
It's only a big thing to people that they don't know what the hell they doing.
Yeah.
I just told him last night, I said, if you read about Warren Buffett, you'll find out he got married I'm gonna shorten it up. He got married in 1950 something. After 25 years almost, him and his wife split up, lived separately because she wanted to pursue her singing career. Guess what this woman did? When it found a woman to be in the house with him, that they was real tight. And all of them was real tight, even though the other wife lived in a different state. So what I was telling my family was, it's a lot of being out here, they don't even think like so-called Israel think about biblical marriage or polygyny. They just move. Abraham just moved. Jacob just moved. He flowed in what Yah had already given him on the inside. David just moved. I don't see David talking about, man, I think I'll be glad when I get this. I got to get me another kingdom over here in heaven so I can get some more wives. They don't operate. Real men don't operate like that. It just happens. A door is open up. Something's showing to them. They say, hey, I can use her over here. She has these abilities. She has this gift.
Yep.
Her attitude, her personality is like that. They didn't do all this other stuff.
Yep.
That was just a side. I was saying, we are so. I was telling my friend, we are so just overly inundated with polygyny. No, man. What about just walking out this faith? Right. What about living it? That's what's up.
That's it. That is it. And that's the thing is this faith is not like some Bible study. When you're walking out this faith, you're just doing it. You're not waiting for nobody to give you some prompt or to give you a green light. You're saying, if y'all sent me this way, I'm doing it.
That's it.
And here's the thing, here's something that's interesting. If y'all, because people be trying to walk this faith out like they're perfect, and you know it's full of shit. You're going to make mistakes. Everybody did. Read every single person in the Bible. They all made mistakes. And here's something. I'm not saying you should, but there are men in the Bible that made avoidable mistakes. Look at David with Bathsheba. Oh, yeah. That was an avoidable mistake. Samson, avoidable mistake.
Most definitely.
Peter was warned of his mistake that you're gonna deny me 3 times. No, I ain't. Did it. Look at the story of Jonah. Go over here and preach. I ain't going. The nigga got on the boat. So you're going to make mistakes. The thing is, you want to avoid the mistakes that you should not make because you've already been given the wisdom to avoid them. But this faith is not some church-based thing. If you look at our people, our ancients, it wasn't a church-based faith. They lived what they believed. This just goes to show you that most of these cats today don't believe what they live. So they always have to have somebody standing over them, convincing them that they do believe it.
Mm.
Hey, you really do believe in submitting to your leader. Hey, you do believe it, right? You believe it, don't you? You believe it. Are you? Show me you believe it. Show me.
Every week.
Every week, you have to prove it to them over and over again that you believe it. One of the things I've been talking to my family about is our ancients, when Sarah did what she did in Egypt and in the land of the Philistines, when Abraham said, "Tell me you're my sister," she was living what she believed.
Yes, sir.
There was no convincing. He didn't have to convince her. Hey, babe, you do this, I'll take you to Chuck E. Cheese. I'll buy you that new Mercedes.
Man.
And today, dudes got to be convinced. Women, it's a damn shit that now we have had some women who have gotten themselves covered from this channel. But most of these women want to be convinced. Like, you have to convince them to get covered. I ain't convincing you of shit. You don't want to be you want to be uncovered? Stay uncovered.
Right.
Man.
I'm talking for maybe that one that heard it and said, "Oh shit, I've been wandering around aimlessly. That's what I needed to hear." Because this faith is not, I'm not convincing nobody of anything. If you want to go and move on some dude's land and be a servant, go do it. You want to give somebody your money because you think that's Israel, go do it. If you look at the writings of Yeshua clearly said time and time again, it's only for those that have the ears to hear. It's not for everybody. So for even coming out of her, those words are not for everybody. There's still going to be niggas that say, "Well, I'm coming out with 15 bucks in my pocket and I'm bringing my family with me." All right, go ahead. That's cool.
Yep. And I know it's going to work because I did my research. All right, cool.
Right.
Yep, y'all hitting on something, man. It's time out for trying to convince dudes. I like that. Trying to convince people just to live the book. No, man, we ain't doing all that. Yeah, that's the same way with women. I saw a question about, can loudmouth, unruly women be submissive? Shit, I don't know. But I'm not going to waste time to find out. I'm going to keep, a matter of fact, I told somebody one time before I let them release them from my house. I told them one time, hey, I'm like a tractor trailer. I run good when there's less weight on them. When the load is empty, when the trailer is light, I run faster. I get more done. You can do more with less. So I know for a fact some of that stuff ain't even worth I'm just saying, some of that stuff ain't even worth our time. That's just being straight up. It's not being cocky. It's not being none of that. It's just that when you got a vision before you, you need that Yah has given you. You need to go accomplish that. And you don't need no setbacks. And sometimes human beings with big mouths in the form of a female is a holdup, a setback, a roadblock, a hassle.
Yeah.
So these women, if they do want to be covered, they gotta be already ready to do that.
Right.
This shouldn't be somewhere you gotta get trained up to be submissive. Who does that?
Or
you
convinced.
Trained up on the job to be submissive. So I don't even go for that stuff no more. I ain't trying to talk to you about all the time about your mouth or your attitude or whatever you displaying. Nigga, you messing up the whole vibe of the house with that crazy stuff. It's peaceful around here.
Right.
Nah, it's time out for that. Or trying to convince a brothers, you have more power. If you got your own land, if you want to be a sucker, go be a sucker.
Yep.
Go do that. But when it all crumbles, I don't want to hear it.
Not at all. Not at all. And not when it comes to take the two boys. Some men, God, it's the whole risk thing. Some men are just really, y'all just be risking everything. You want to come out so bad so you can land. And most of this stuff is geared around. Okay, hold on. Come here. Go some of that. Look at this. There you go. This is my oldest. Do you think that I'm going to put her at risk because I just want another wife? So, hey, Fall Your Shoe, can I bring your daughter out with me? We ain't got no water. You see, this is what we were saying. A daughter or a woman that has her father involved in her life, I'm not about to let her go out there to die of dehydration.
Mm.
But you could get some uncovered, untaught woman to go out there and die for you. Do you like water?
Yes.
Do you like drinking water?
I wouldn't even live if I didn't have water.
Do you like showers?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to know. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Wow.
She likes water and showers. What a novel concept, huh?
There we go.
Crazy.
I saw a couple questions on there. One was, how much are we spending in goats? Doing goats and chickens and all that stuff. I just throw a ballpark figure out here. I'm pretty sure since I was inexperienced at first, I would want to say I probably spend like $1,000 or less per year. But I do remember it was a time when I spent $300 or $400 in a month because I was buying square bales, them little 50-pound bales, and feed. And now I just cut out a lot of that stuff in some ways, meaning I go buy bales that's right around between 900 and 1,000 pounds. I'll pick as many up as those that I can. I'll take a week because I have to travel a distance to go get them. But brother, in order to move those bales, what must you have? A damn truck in the trailer, or a van in the trailer, or something that can pull something with a trailer. They not dropping that. I'm just telling you, the farmers is not dropping it off. The feed stores is not dropping it off. Unless you really got a lot of paper. Now, I do know a brother who have paper who they might bring 30 rolls or 20 rolls or whatever it is. Right. That's something totally different. I'm not in that boat. So I'm going to have to go pick up my stuff with a trailer. Matter of fact, now the family make fun of me because I got almost a trailer for everything. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 trailers out there right now for something different because you need stuff. So I would want to say I probably spend less than $1,000 because the 900-pound bale is only costing me $45, $50 whack. That only lasts the goat. Right now I'm running 6 goats for 1 cow. That only lasts the goats 3 weeks. But now I got that cow, and I know the cow can eat it too. I don't think it's gonna last 3 weeks. I'm probably willing to go down to 2 weeks, week and a half, whatever it is. I gotta find that out because I just started putting the cow on that. So I just throw that out there. The other thing was I thought something about what do we think Proverbs 31:3 mean about giving your strength over? Now, to Andre Davis, what it means to me is this. I'm not giving them my sexual strength. I'm not giving them my time, energy, or effort. That belongs to people who are dedicated to me and my program. That's what's up.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we can easily see what that looks like when men do that too. That equivocates to this whole happy wife, happy life concept.
Yeah.
That's a bunch of men who have given their strength over to women, in my opinion.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So, you can have a well-organized, well-functioning, righteous household with the man keeping his place of preeminence.
Yes, sir.
And that's that man not giving his strength over to, and actually in other places it's telling you you're not giving your strength over, your power over to a wife or your children.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Or friends for that matter. You keep yourself in the place of preeminence.
All right, brother, you asked. I'm gonna look. I looked it up in the Hebrew. It says, "Give not thy strength unto women, That word strength is the Hebrew word 2428. It means strength, might, efficiency, wealth, army. Strength, so you don't give your strength, you don't give your ability or efficiency, you don't give your wealth over to a woman. And then that's the Brown Driver's Briggs. In the Strongs, it says force, wealth, virtue, valor, strength. A band of men, company, forces, goods, host, might, power, riches, strength, strong, substance. You don't give any of that. That look good.
What is
My
that?
second, Avi
Peach
made this.
cobbler?
Yes, sir.
What?
Avi made that. It's beautiful and it's delicious.
Avi made peach cobbler?
Are you serious?
Yes, sir.
He
Man.
about to mukbang us.
Brother.
My bad. I didn't mean to interrupt, though.
No.
You good, bro. I mean, I'm always, and I'm just saying it, because I know y'all, I'm always amazed, because that does look, I just told somebody here the other day, I said, we don't need to talk about nothing but a peach cobbler. That's the next order of business. But just to see how your daughters and your sons are, how they do what they do, man, how they operate under your tutelage and the care of their mothers, that's big. Just seeing the young sister that FY put on his lap, seeing that young sister develop over a couple years. Okay, I just looked at her and said, "Whoa, hold on a second. Whoa. She don't look like the little kid from a couple years ago, man. Just see how y'all operate. That's awesome to see."
Hallelujah, brother. I agree.
I'm gonna make sure I make my announcement early when we come out there, because I want some peach cobbler.
Damn, for real.
Just saying. Hey, feast days will be coming up. This time I think we can make some peach cobbler.
Hey, you doing pretty good over there at Shalom.
I know.
Yes, sir. I'm most proud of Sarah.
You're killing it over there.
In fact, this stream is because of Brother Andre's daughter. And the sad part is she's over here having conversations that men should have.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
she's over here talking about things that men don't even talk about. This woman can operate equipment that men can't operate. So if you say, "Hey, Brother Andre," oh, sorry, you know what I'm saying? "Hey, Brother Andre, hey, I'm looking to, Sister Sarah, you know what I'm saying? I'm about to come out though, you know what I'm saying? And what you think?"
I don't think about it. I try not to think about it. The sad thing, brother, is this. Well, it ain't sad, it's just me. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all and say I'm not some overly righteous brother. This is just Andre L. Davis, period. I just told Keisha this morning, I said, I've been putting extra pressure on Sarah. Like, her mother wasn't feeling well one day this week. She was already outside doing some chores with some feeding of the animals. I said, "Hey, hold on that. I got you on that. I'm gonna jump on that. But could you come in here and make breakfast for your mom? I don't want nothing." I said, "I don't want nothing." Now, she made something for me anyway, to perfection. But I guess I'm putting all this extra pressure on her. But I told her mom this morning, I said, I'm not so as they say saved and all that stuff. I would kill her. I heard a nigga about this. I'm serious about that. I said, I can't afford to let her go to just anybody. I said, because I know me, as much as men say, "Well, brother, you can't break the law." I'm going to be honest. I'm going to break it. I'm going to tell you, "Hey, y'all, I understand I got a penalty, but I'm finna hurt somebody." And I was serious. I told Keisha, I said, I just can't. I say, as much as she's getting older, and she to me, she at that proper age. And she sometimes make jokes with me and say, "Yeah, Dad, I know you say you're gonna be looking," but I'm like, it gotta be the right guy. Because y'all know for yourself, y'all will hurt somebody about them folks.
Oh,
yep.
yeah.
And wouldn't even think about it.
That's right.
And I wouldn't need nobody else to do it for me. I'll do it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'll be thankful to do it.
Yes, sir. Up close in person.
Yep. Because this stuff is too, you know, especially when you when you know you raised up your children in Yah and the best that you could. You brought them out of the city. You sacrificed yourself as men for the sake of your family.
Yes, sir.
I'm not about to have no nigga just roll up, hey. Or I don't care, you know, and I'm gonna be real. I don't care if you're a pastor, elder, teacher, more. You ain't rolling up to my family. That's where you will get hurt.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
And I'll let you know I'm coming too. I'll be there at 10:53 a.m.
Yes, sir.
Because that's just something you don't do. Especially if you so-called call yourself in the faith.
I agree.
I believe the more we live this, the more we know the word is true about giving away your daughter in marriage is a very weighty matter. That's some stuff that's gonna be on your damn mind. That's fair. That's before, during, and afterwards. Because no man wants to get a phone call about Bubba, Studio, whatever his name is, about some foul stuff. That's one thing I enjoy about us being brothers, you know, and I don't think brothers get this, but that's the one thing about real men living for y'all and building families, and then actually having a brotherhood, because I believe young men knew that if your father, if your father received a phone call from another father about their child, that them two guys that made an arrangement with on your behalf as a son or a daughter, man, you know what kind of hell gonna happen when you have to talk to your kid about how they acting,
right,
about your name. But see, we don't have that because we're not really building that. We're trying to, but I'm just saying a lot of us don't have that kind of mind. Like, I wouldn't want nobody calling me talking about, hey, father-in-law, I'm having this problem out of Sarah. I'd be like, what?
Nope.
I wouldn't want to have a visit to where I say, well, what's been going on? How things been going? And the person say, well, you know, she been doing X, Y, and Z. I'll be, man, me and her finna have a talk. It ain't gonna be pleasant. Same way for my son. If we have to have a talk, it ain't gonna be pleasant about you messing over somebody's daughter. I was mad at. And I know these.
I wouldn't want that for my own.
Exactly.
That's fire, brother. That's straight up. And that is missing. I agree.
Yes, sir.
That is.
That's
and the sad fact is,
piece once again.
Yep. It's even hard to have real brotherhood in this faith without somebody trying to shit on you, to the point where you can build real friendships and relationships with your brother, where your children have somebody that they can actually look at.
Yes, right, sir.
And say, hey, daddy, I like so-and-so.
Wow.
But you can't do that because the father's an asshole. He's half in the faith, half out.
There we go.
Mama is Ema, tutu on Sabbath, but the rest of the week she's a stripper.
Yep. Man.
So I was like, you can't have nothing real. One of the things that Brother David says is that one of the toughest things is that whenever we understand something, the one thing that we are good at is we are good at tearing shit up.
Yes, sir.
We can't have nothing. It's almost like when Yah gives the truth to us, he knows that shit's going to be perverted.
Man.
He knows that people are going to go out there and destroy that shit and make gain off of it. Niggas are going to make money off of Yah. They're going to steal children. They're going to commit adultery. They're going to take wives from men that are already married to them. Women are going to leave households. It doesn't matter what it is. Yah knows that his word is going to be torn up by the heathen. and by the
They don't
faith.
take deeds.
They don't take deeds, take lands, tell you you can't get married. Man,
we still on topic too. We still on, because one of the things is, guess what? I wish I knew that there was gonna be some fake people,
man,
in the form of males calling themselves brothers. Like, it's hard for me to even call a dude a brother now. I mean, I didn't even know this concept really existed to this degree. Meaning, when I met Brother David and FY, we thought I thought, hey man, it's gonna be a good thing. Let's bring some more brothers around. And I remember FY said, hey brother, you know the word says we need to test people. We need to, matter of fact, we even need to test each other before we call each other brothers. Before we start really counting on one another. And I just looked at it and thought about it. I was like, that's way different than I ever heard in my life. He had the scripture to back it up. And guess what? We actually walked that thing out. That's what really made us close. I'm pretty sure. And we actually got to see that by testing other guys to see if they were real. Now, I wish I had known that on the forefront if dudes was real. But some guys just be perpetrating is real. Some guys look the part. They got the right verses of scripture to say. They know all the little cliche phrases. They know the who's who in the faith and all that other BS. But living it, no. Knowing what true brotherhood is, no. Honoring your word, no. Even honoring, hold on. What about honoring feast days? Do you know? Now this is interesting. Most male, supposedly Hebrew men that I have met do not even know how to honor feast days or how they should honor feast days or even have anything outlined for their family on feast day.
Right.
Let's be honest with y'all. This is gloves off, just being straight up. They talk a good game on the phone. They sound good. They sound like they want to live for the Most High. Hold on a second. You want to live for the Most High? Did you just tell me you ate a hamburger on unleavened bread? What?
It had cheese on it, brother.
It had cheese on it?
Just had to, yeah.
Extra like ketchup.
Right. Like that was the way that was even dropped on us was crazy. So I'm just saying that to know that, man, it would have, I feel like this, I could have saved extra time, energy, and effort not even getting involved with a bunch of that stuff. Like we have learned over the years, we're very selective about feast days with people.
Oh, you just hit Brother Ronnie. Sorry, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, mama said I thought it was someone that I missed. But yeah, I mean,
no, brother.
Just knowing that men, shit, if I knew men were gonna be the same in the world as they are in the faith, shit, I wouldn't be wasting my time with this. We talk, like I'm telling y'all, we talk about this stuff a lot. Sometimes we pulling each other off the fence because we like, nah, we ain't gonna deal with so and so or that person or whatever. And then somebody will say, well, brother, what about this and what about that? You know, we try to operate in a lot of grace. We try to err on the side of, you know, well, maybe this brother need more tutelage or whatever. But it's sometimes you just meet some guys and you know straight up in you know that this guy is not what he said he was, and we just need to leave that alone. We done had those experiences.
Yep.
Splinter injected in the body, and it's automatically like, oh no, that don't fit. Hold on.
Yes, sir. Automatic.
Out.
Man.
Inkpen, I want to say thank you very, very much. We are honored. We are extremely honored.
Yes, sir.
And then you said you had a question. We will be waiting for the question.
Is it be fruitful and oh, okay. Well, maybe. I was wondering, was that the question? I'm like, huh?
Okay. If your daughter is married, can you still rebuke her for her actions, or is that her husband's responsibility?
She married at her husband's house? Is that the premise we under?
I think that's what he was referring to.
Okay. Y'all can go ahead, Brother David. You was about to crank it up.
Yeah, I'll always be her father. And so, especially if it's an issue where she was out of line with the husband, then I think that's where that backing of the father would come into play. Now, if it's something, outside of that, if it's something that maybe I didn't agree with, but that's how the husband rules, then I'm deferring to the husband in that matter. But
Yes,
if
sir.
it's, my daughter out of line with that husband, oh yeah, you can rebuke your daughter, and that's your daughter.
I agree.
I would say I would never rebuke my daughter over her husband. So I would always give it to him to rebuke her. Now, if she came and asked me a question like that, I'm getting on her.
Right.
But I've seen people run their homes weird. And I've had that internal dialogue with myself. Because once you give your daughter away to her husband, you transferred authority and ownership of that possession.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's kind of hard for me because that means I no longer have the authority over her. And it may get to a time where maybe her husband, and I've dialogued with this on the side of my head. What if my husband allows her to do something that I didn't?
To me, that's cool. That's his. She's his.
That's
possession.
Yep.
So that's why when it comes to rebuking her, I'd follow his lead because I might be like, "Hey, I didn't tell you to talk to him like that," but he might be like, "Oh no, that's how we talk to each other," and I'd be like, "Oh,
right."
So I would follow his lead in the rebuking.
I agree. I think it would only come in the situation where he has brought something to you as the father-in-law.
Yes.
That's how I would see it. Outside of that, it's like, hey, that's their house.
Yes. Yep.
His house.
That's an excellent question because I think a lot of men, we do get into that, especially see then there's the problem. What if you have like this super passive husband and he refuses to rebuke her and you're watching your daughter go off a cliff and it's still his possession, but you're watching her, let's say you brought her back from being mouthy and now he's just like, she got a green light. And you're watching it, you're just like.
Hopefully, in that situation, that you can pull son-in-law under your wing and kind of coach him up. That's how I would approach that.
Damn. Hopefully. I would just hope that I did a good enough job vetting that won't happen.
Right.
I would hope
that's
that
first
too.
And foremost. That's what I was gonna say. That's one of them due diligence issues right there.
Yes,
first
sir.
And foremost. But yeah, I guess he could have been all about it, and then you got your daughter, and women have a way of pulling on folks that in a way that no one else could do. So, and I just say all that to say maybe she brought something out of him that you didn't foresee or he didn't even foresee. She just brought a softness out of him, and so maybe he just needs some encouragement and like, nah, you need to toe the line. Who knows? Hopefully,
right.
Not, but man,
those are some sticky situations.
Sister Jasmine Fly from the House of Booth asked, "What about mother-daughter? Do I correct young women in my life? Or is that disrespecting her head?" Man. I would say, I'll just tell you how I do it. I always lean on that woman has a covering and it's not me. That girl over there has a covering and it's not me. because we, even in our situations here on the Rock, we've had situations where women will ask us questions, and they're married, so they'll ask like the wise questions, and I always try to tell them answer, but make sure you specify this is how we do it. This doesn't mean he has to do it that way.
Right.
This is how we do it. So as far as them, I don't ever really, unless it's a direct question, I don't have them just go and correct people unless the women ask them a direct question. Am I wrong if I talk too loud or if I overtalk my husband? Yes, you're wrong. Well, my husband says he loves it. Then do what your husband says. That type of thing. Because I don't want to put myself or them in sin for ever teaching a woman. And some women are very tricky in how they ask these questions because they secretly already want to rebel. They just want somebody to give them authority to do it. Ain't gonna be me. So I always kind of lean them back to whatever your husband says.
Brother Steve said something about what about an abusive husband?
Hey.
If you was at feast days and you heard the new husband that you chose, watch this now. He called your daughter, hey B, get over here and fix my food. How much restraint you think you got?
I'm gonna eat my cough drop right now.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna have much restraint. I'm probably gonna crack a jaw. But I'm a try not to go. You know, you be wanting not to go there, but I don't know if I had that kind of restraint. It'll be hard. Could you imagine, Brother David? I already know you couldn't imagine. I saw a round go off. I saw a round go off, and I saw you moving on a round. An accidental discharge. You was quick.
You know what I think? I think that if something like that were to happen, this dude would have had to have lied, or he would have had to have lied to me during this whole due diligence process, vetting process, and so I wouldn't have any problem then, dealing with him as a deceiver.
I would say I would have zero tolerance, but I wouldn't come out swinging first. And here's why. Because I chose him.
Damn.
I would have to go and pull him aside first and be like, what did you call her? Now, if it was somebody that she just chose, maybe a little bit, but because I chose them, I feel like I'd have some accountability to that happening. So I'd have to at least see why he did it before I swung.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to make my grandchildren fatherless, but we'd have a conversation though. I'll just leave it at that.
Yep. That's deep, especially if you chose her.
Hey, that's deep. That really is. Hey, that bring out a whole nother you. You talk about you gotta swallow your cough drop. You gotta chew on your cough drop. Yeah, I hear you, and I believe you. But I was just thinking about, you have a flash in the moment. You know how that stuff raises up on the inside? You're like, what?
It would bring a whole new meaning to that song. I got something on the inside moving all over me. It came moving in like a mighty rushing wind. Yeah, that shit came moving in.
Yes, sir. Man.
Oh, man.
The weighty matter.
That is a weighty matter.
Very much so.
And that may be why men, that's why I'm going to be honest, that's why it's hard to look at men my daughter's age.
That's true.
Because most of these cats be jokers and they ain't serious.
Right.
You find your average 25-year-old dude, and no, I don't have any daughters 25-year-old, but they ain't talking about trying to homestead or raise a family or nothing.
No.
Most of them are just trying to get some lockdown pussy that they can have regularly. They're more devoted on vagina than they are their job.
Yep.
Because I be looking at that like, wait a minute, you telling me you want a long-term relationship with my daughter, but you can't keep a long-term job? You changing jobs every 6 weeks because you're late? You didn't report on time? You missed the report date? You
don't have a car?
Don't have a car?
So much you coming out?
Man, some of the things we done heard.
Man.
Y'all, about 5 more minutes. Any more questions? Brother Alex, bless you. Shabbat shalom, brother. Anything else? Coming out is important, brothers. Obedience is important. But you can't, in your obedience and in your coming out, it's not a sprint. You have to count the cost, consider the cost, and be wise in that.
And that's part of it. It's not one versus the other. It's all inclusive.
Right. Yes.
Part of coming out is first counting the cost. You know, I tell this story before. We moved here in 2015. I think I bought this land in 2013. And before that, we looked and prepared since 2008.
Right.
Man.
Right. When I bought the land, I was off of it for 6 months. I was still in Arizona. And for 6 months, since I knew I was coming out, I sold anything that we had brought out of California that I could sell that we didn't need. And I saved every single dime. I told the family, we're not going out to eat. We're not eating, any sort of meals that are going to cost too much. We're saving everything that we can save because I knew how we were going to be starting. And I knew that extra $50 was going to be more important than taking everybody out to dinner today. Sacrifice.
Yes, sir.
If you can't make the sacrifices, don't talk about it. Because sacrifices take maturity, devotion, vision. And you may have to sacrifice on that extra wife or 2 and extra 5 to 10 children that may come along with it. So that you can make sure, the Bible says men are so willy-nilly when it comes to that sort of thing because they're willing to essentially mistreat the wife of their youth. Give less to her, cut her back extremely, just to add another piece of vagina on your already run-down, non-successful homestead? I mean, how do you pitch that to your wife? Hey, babe, I know we don't have very much food to eat, and I know you're only taking 1 shower a week because we ain't got no water, but I'm gonna need you to cut that 1 shower a week to half a shower a week because I want another wife.
Man.
That wouldn't go over very well. Folks have low morale in camp.
Right. People threatening to leave.
Man.
Or just looking so sad you threatened to make them leave.
Right.
Oh, man. Like, what's wrong with you? Come to find out it was that shower. Oh, man.
You're looking at her like, why do you have a frown on your face? I'm not frowning. My face just dehydrated like this.
Oh man.
So we gotta just think about these things as men. As men, we gotta be a lot more wiser, smarter. We gotta think a little bit more. A lot more.
Yep, we have to learn the 4C.
Man.
Plan.
Yes,
Plan.
sir.
Plan. That word right there is a whole live stream. That word right there you said. Yes. Plan, man. And that would line up with the whole vision. What is the vision? I mean, can you even articulate why you want? I mean, that it's amazing when you ask men like, why do you want to come out? And their answer is so convoluted, it's so watered down that it's like, I know the Bible says come out, but you make me feel like coming out would be a bad decision for you. Listening to your answer would make me. What was that?
They make you repent for asking them.
Yes, right.
You're not, man. I repented for that question. Never mind. I withdraw it.
The Bible says, "Foolish and unlearned questions avoid." I should have avoided asking you that question. My bad. All right, I don't see any more questions.
Nah, brothers, I think we good. We love y'all.
Yeah, we love y'all. We hope that you have a blessed and restful, peaceful Shabbat. I pray that you have had a productive week. And if you didn't have a productive week last week, y'all willing, focus. Foresee what you need to get done. Foresee what's next.
Yes, sir.
Enjoy this day of rest. And then on come first day, start putting some plans in place. And then start executing. Even if it's just a little bit.
Yeah.
Chipping away at it. Get stuff done. Test yourself. Don't believe that just because you think it is. Test yourself. Think that you're willing to sacrifice? Test it now.
Man.
Turn your thermostat up just a little bit. Trim off the budget just a little bit. Test those things now.
Yes, sir.
Turn off the internet.
We love y'all. We hope
Yes,
that
sir.
those with ears to hear will hear. And if not, hey.
You like it, we love it.
There it is.
There it is.
Have a blessed Shabbat, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.